And we're live. Hello and welcome to Game Theory Gang, episode 138. I'm Maddie Allen with Kareem.
What's up,
Welcome.
everybody? Bang, bang. Whew, what an exciting week. Glad to be here.
That's right. And everybody hit the like and subscribe button, share this out. Replay
Mhm.
Gang, 2000 strong. Let's hear from you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, what a week, man. We had an election. We had most of what we were hoping for. Wink, wink happened, which is pretty cool. And market's been flying. I don't know if you've been watching, so it's good. Ethereum's been flying. Everything's been flying. So a lot of great contents today. So excited to get started about that. Talk some
Right.
macros. And caviar this week is going to be good too because we have a lot of cool economic data coming up this week, starting with CPI, tomorrow, which is cool. So we get inflation numbers, CPI numbers, manufactured this week. So if those numbers comes good, shit, the flying continues. So, you know what I mean? We're getting already great appointments. And now it's just more like continuation pattern. So it's good about that.
We're in a bull market, so good news is good news, then bad news is good news, right?
Yes, I think this is the section of the bull market where we're about to go into that full parabolic phase. You know what I mean? Like I told everybody how we had that little, bear run in the bull market. So now we're exploding out of that run. The bull flag has literally played out beautifully to the T, bull flag, cup and handle, whatever you want to call it. We're literally mimicking what regular market has been doing for a while. So we're playing that catch up. So that's why it's pretty cool. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Good to see you all.
Test, test, test.
Oh, Maddie said they can't hear you.
It's part of the trouble with traveling with your setup.
Let us know in the chat if you can hear Maddie, because I can hear him, but I want to make sure everybody can hear.
Test, test, test.
Yeah, I can
Test, test, test.
hear.
Is that better? Better. Okay, good. I can see it.
Everybody raise your volume on your device just in case.
What
And
I
I
was
feel
saying
phones.
is that the Fed lowered interest rates by 0.25%.
Yep, that
Money
too.
printer go burr. So bad news is good news and good news is good news. Bull market.
Yep.
Yeehaw.
Nice. Now this was good because this was telegraphed. This is something that they're planning on doing, so which is cool. Wow, fancy.
Thank you.
Another
All
jacket.
right.
So yeah, so that extra 25 basis point is what we were waiting for. So now it brings it up to 75 basis point total since they started to cut rate. And what's good about it is they didn't aggressively cut to show the market also that there's no panic because there's no emergency. Market's been resilient. Unemployment rates been kind of kicking some butt. So you know what I mean? It's not doing as bad as some people have potentially predicted. So that's good. Now, that doesn't mean it can't go bad soon, but the cool thing is we have a lot of room. So that's why the Fed is in a really, really good position right now. Because since the election, another cool thing, Maddie, is that the dollar's been strengthening, aka a lot of money, foreign investors have been flooding back into the US. It's not just, all the ETFs and crypto, regular market. I mean, everything's flying. Tesla has been flying. MicroStrategy, everything double digit, Coinbase. I mean, you name it. You know what I mean? And DXY is at 105, which is really, really cool because usually it's when they value the dollar, print, right? That's when we get our pump. This time we're double fisting because we're getting the pump in US dollar terms, and the dollar is strong too, which is really cool because that means should the dollar weakens, aka should they start to go full printing mode, which is going to happen in 2025 for multiple reasons. Either the job markets gets weakened, so they have to lower rate faster, or simply all the cool things the administration plan on doing, anywhere from manufacturing new jobs, bringing jobs back to America. Sadly, deportation, all the illegal, all this sort of stuff. It's going to cost money, so they're going to print money for that. But the Fed is in a good situation because the dollar is strong right now. So if they were to go money go burr, print more money, it can handle it. So that's why it's pretty good.
Is it Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how political we should get, but like, is it?
Well, it's not about being political. It's just facts because all this thing costs
I
money.
mean, is it a sad thing to deport people who are here
No,
illegally?
I'm just saying in the sense of like, some people will have to learn the hard way, but they gotta learn because I don't want to sound like I don't have empathy, but it's something that needs to be done. You know what I mean? Kind of
Yeah,
like, hey, you can leave and you can come back legally. That's it.
exactly.
But
Yeah,
what I'm
we
saying,
need
I came in
people
legally.
here.
But what I'm
Yeah,
saying is that it's going
exactly.
to cost money because it's still $1 trillion budget that this thing is running, and it's a deficit budget. So money will be printed for that. So the Fed is getting ready for what's going to happen next year. Does that make sense?
But is it more or less expensive than keeping everybody here?
No, irrespective. I mean, administration runs deficit. Doesn't matter who it is. We just hope that instead of $3 trillion, which is insane, hopefully with the government efficiency and Elon's and the boys, we can keep it under the minimum of like, maybe wink, wink, 1 trillion instead of. You get the joke? But the 1 trillion, the money still got to come from somewhere. It's deficit spending. So no matter what, that money is going to be used for that. This is the reason why the Feds do what they do. Kind of like, think of it like, you're about to go to war. You want to prepare all your ammos and your bullets and So what you do is that you only print until when you have to. In other words, right now, you don't have to because number one, the economy has been resilient more than what anybody expected, which is a good thing because they expected to cut rate much faster and they don't have to, which is the beauty about the soft landing, which is like, we don't have to, don't spend the dime, you can get it for the the nickel, right? So, and that's what's happening right now. But they're also, like the Fed said, if you watch the meeting as well, when they were lowering rate, they keep saying, rightfully so, we're going to go meeting by meeting. So in other words, we understand that rates are restrictive, aka they're still a little bit high. That is, hurting a little bit, but it's not at a point where it's like the economy is crumbling, which is a good thing because inflation is still not at 2%. We are 2.3, 2.4%. We came down from 3%, so that's really good. But remember, the mandate said 2%. So they have to keep things a little bit restrictive to continue to lower that inflation. And we're getting inflation number this week. So if that turns out to be good, better than expected, now they can even think about lowering rate even faster, which is good because you don't want to get inflation to, roll his ugly head back up because then now all of a sudden, we don't think about cutting rates going to 2025. We're going to think about either not cutting rates or potentially raising rates, which nobody wants. So this is the reason why it's better to have that nice, slow, soft landing. That's why it's a good analogy with the airplane, right? When you're in the plane after 4 or 5 hours or a long flight, and then the captain says, "Hey, we're gonna begin our descent, right? With 30 minutes, right? We're slowing down." They don't go to like 200 miles an hour or no, they go from like 800 miles an hour to like 500 and 400 and then lower the altitude. That's what we're doing. We're lowering the altitude slowly, getting calm. We have blue sky. We can see everything, perfect weather. It's just, we're bringing the plane nice and slow. And then if there's an emergency, then we hit the jets and then, we got to abort the landing. But so far, it's telegraphed. It's on autopilot. It's slowly. We're like 20 minutes until we land. So this is the analogy I want people to realize. This is also the reason why they're still removing stuff off their balance sheet and then lowering their security holdings, all this sort of stuff. Because by lowering the balance sheet, again, next year, God forbid they need to print. God forbid they need to raise that balance sheet again. Now they have ammunition. Because what you don't want is lower too much. Then inflation brings its ugly head back on, and then you have an actual emergency again. Unemployment goes crazy, and now
Stagflation.
exactly.
No.
And then now you have no more ammo. You got no more things to use because everything has been used. So that's why it's good.
What's up, Fast Abdul?
Hey, no, I've had a busy day. I've been making some liquidity pools and stuff like that. So
Oh wow!
Pumped about the Bitcoin prices. That's feels good. It feels good to see the green candles, even if it's not all my green candles.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming, yeah. And you can see ETH going up too. It's like it it made it so I had to wear the sexy suit because that's just how I was feeling with the new prices. This is like the Bitcoin pump suit. It's going to result in the HEX pump suit, which is a different suit. I'll wear it next time.
Very well
Beautiful.
said.
Yeah.
What I love about this pump that's happening right now is, again, it's something that we've been telegraphing for the past couple of weeks, wishing for it to happen, and it's great that it did, because now it's not just Bitcoin, but crypto as a whole, but also crypto that has product market fit. Now we're going to have the return of real DeFi. We're going to have the return of things that actually matters. That's going to be here for the long term, because, again, not only the administration is pro crypto, but the administration is also pro DeFi. That's why you also see the Aave, the compounds of the world, everything pro DeFi. Ethereum's been pumping a lot lately too, which is cool. Matter of fact, Ethereum slightly pumped a little bit more than Bitcoin temporarily. So, and which when we get to that section, I want to show people Ethereum ETF has been catching a bid lately, which is really cool. They have a first back-to-back over $100 million. The money is coming in. ETF on Bitcoin passed $1 billion inflow. 2 days. That was really cool to see BlackRock have that. That's how we got to the 80 and then now 88. But now Ethereum went from literally almost zero. Remember every time you show people? Now it's catching nice $100 million inflow days. That's really, really cool, because that's the precursor.
We're going to see more of those ETFs too. I just read today HBAR just applied for an ETF, and we know Solana already has. So like half of crypto could freaking be on the stock market in the form of ETFs, right?
Mm-hmm. And BlackRock already said, Larry Fink already said it. We're going to tokenize everything. But what I love about it is that no matter what, everything's going to follow the order. Right, Bitcoin gets first, then it's gonna be Ethereum next. Whatever's coming after, in the best case scenario, and I'm being generous,
Cardano.
It's not gonna get approved for another at least anywhere from 4 to 6 months. And I'm being generous, could be years, but let's just say 4 to 6 months. Meanwhile, again, after Bitcoin, Ethereum is gonna catch its bid, especially Q1, because historically that's when it goes crazy. They just had their conference, which is awesome. They have a major update coming in Q1 2025. And by that time, if the calculations are right and the prediction and the safe estimates, so to speak, you could be hitting $100,000 Bitcoin plus by the end of the year, right? Possibly before it, but who knows? And then catching into 2025, anywhere from 105, 110. And everybody knows once Bitcoin is 6-figure plus, everybody's gonna start deleveraging in a sense where, all right, cool. Let me move some of that money to another coin that I think is gonna do well, and that one's gonna be Ethereum for sure. And now, as the ETF bumps into
100K by the end of the week or end of the year?
Wow, 100 a week, Matty. Look at you.
We're 15% away. 15%.
Okay, well, hold on to stop playing the chart. There's a lot of green vector right now, meaning there's a lot of pump. It's something needs to be digested. If it's not, when the pullback comes, people are gonna cry. So I'm just saying it could happen.
I don't care.
I would rather like it when it pumps regular. I don't like it when it pumps and it turns to a green vector, because it's algorithmic. It's not normal. It's too many people going long. And then what the liquidation bots is gonna be like. Let me come and get you. Like some of those people that went extra long, we touched 89K. What happened? You pulled back to 85 because some people just get the greed. You know how it is. It's okay to be greedy, but not too greedy, because guess what? The market maker will punish you. You need that organic back. Now, fortunately, thanks to BlackRock and the boys in the Fidelity, the bids are coming in. So when the bots are trying to liquidate, those people keep buying the dip, which has been helping out. But again, if I like to see the candle be regular, the candle turn into a vector, then I'm like, all right, watch out. You better get out of here fast. Because yes, not every vector gets recovered. Sometimes there's so much buying that it just doesn't matter. That's why that first vector, and I'm gonna show you later, it's like I'm okay for that one not being recovered, because we've been sitting at this area for literally 6 months. We've been waiting for this breakout. So it's almost expected that so many people go long at that right point, because they know that's the breakout. Plus we got the election, the win, everything. America, for the most part, because he won the popular vote. That's just what it is. Landslide everywhere. So it's happy. People are happy to go back to work. I've seen so many happy videos for the last literally week. So it's like, and that's important in an economy, the morale of the people. Because if people wake up thinking like, oh, life sucks and doom and gloom, then they don't want to go to work. But
half of the people are happy now.
Yeah, people are happy for the most part. people want to go back to work and hustle and know that, tough time might still be here, but at least you face it head on with a good attitude. And that's good for market. And that's what market has shown. A lot of the foreign investor money came out because it wasn't just stock market pump and Bitcoin pump, like DXY pumped. Again, in crypto term, guys, that means that a lot of people left their shit coins, euro, yen, and then also what's called British pound. They all lost against the dollar. I mean, dollar is on a tear. And that's rare because usually when crypto pump, dollar goes down. Crypto is pumping while dollar's going up because money is coming back to America. And some big company, wink, wink, who have had a lot of money that they kept outside of America because they wasn't sure about what the administration is going to be or what the policy is going to be, are now bringing the money back because they know that, okay, America is open for business now. We're going to have deregulation. We're going to have government efficiency. Elon and the boys are going to try to remove as much red tape as possible. That's very bullish. Trump already kind of let them know, hey, manufacturing stuff's going to coming back. And what's really fascinating is that he's already, which is cool with some of his interviews that he posted, and I posted someone on my Twitter account, is that although he doesn't start until January 20th, he's already laying down the agenda and being very transparent. And that's really cool. I love that they're doing that. And I love his style of kind of vlog style president, let you know what he's doing and he works for the people. I really like that. And trying to show people that, promise given, promise kept. So he's trying to keep his promise. Obviously, we still got to wait and see. But so far, it's looking really good. And let's
talk about appointments. Hold on. So is it true that Charles Hoskinson is going to be a crypto advisor to Trump? Because I heard Cardano doubled or something because of that, or went up 20%, something. So that's cool. That's interesting. That's something people should hear, right? Because our boy Charles, he rolls deep in the country style, and he's my age, by the way. He looks like grandfather time. He looks like he's 1,000 years old. He's my age, right?
Really?
And really, I've
hard living, I guess.
Who was it that almost bet me a whole ETH that wasn't true? And because he's half a year older or younger than me, I didn't end up taking the money. But anyway.
Okay. Interesting.
He's less than 40.
No, that's what I'm saying. I thought he was in his 40s.
Yeah. So all right. So
wait,
Charles Hoskinson.
Is this a rumor or is it for sure the whole advisor thing?
Well, Cardano pumped to the moon yesterday, so
okay.
Who cares, right?
But I have it in front of me here. It says that Cardano's ADA token surged 33% in the past 24 hours, outperforming Bitcoin and other majors, as founder Charles Hoskinson revealed plans to help shape U.S. crypto policy under the Trump administration.
See, I love how they twist things. Yeah, that's his plan. That doesn't mean he's going to be an advisor. But hey, listen, good for crypto as a whole anyway. So, and then for DeFi as a whole, because Trump has a coin, and that coin is DeFi. So just that alone is just going to help the ecosystem. What Cardano's been doing good lately that I heard of, and I want to give them their flower for that, or at least trying, is that Charles is smart enough now to calm down the rhetoric of Bitcoin suck, this, that, and the third, and they're trying to create their special, connection with the UTX tool to be able to have wrapped Bitcoin on Cardano. That's the one thing that, because obviously they were always, the one being late to the party to have this type of implementation, because, we have wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum years ago, which then means we have that on Pulse Chain a long time ago. And finally, Cardano is doing that. So he was smart enough to humble himself, because I remember a video of him talking shit about how Bitcoin is this and that. And
the good news about Cardano is that it's a vastly superior technically to anything else in crypto, and but it's not going to outperform, because that's not what really matters in crypto. Crypto is about cults and community, and you have to meet certain criteria like censorship resistance and holding your own keys, that type of stuff, to really get the label of crypto from me. But yeah, so it's cool. And our boy Charles, he goes live with Corey Costa from time to time. So we got our in there. And then what's the other appointment
Richard,
that
so-
I need to know more about? So at first people thought that Nuclear Herbs trying to get appointed,
Oh,
joking
that'd be
on
so
Twitter.
cool if he does.
He wasn't joking. So apparently
telling
he
you.
posted that he wants to be the ambassador to Finland.
Yeah.
And apparently he wasn't joking because he followed it up with a Twitter post explaining that he's serious.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Don Jr. and company considers. I mean, bro, they're reading our tweets, bro. I'm telling you. Like I told you, I got the tweet from the campaign and everything. So it's like they definitely know about Richard. They definitely know about the community. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them are not HEX holders somehow. And they know that, Richard has always been, pro real DeFi. And again, he's an American too. So it's like pro America. So it's good. I think it's good.
But I don't know if there's been any insinuation, and this is Game Theory Gang, so maybe I shouldn't talk about it, or maybe I should. But does Finland ring a bell?
Yeah, of course.
For anybody? Why?
I've heard that RH has spent time in Finland in the past.
Okay.
He may or may not live there. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay.
Yeah, common sense. Come on,
Fair
Maddie. We were in New York at the quickies.
Okay. Perfect. Good. So the audience can connect the dots as much as they want to. I support it, and I think everybody else should get behind it too. As I've been seeing that they have been. Nuclear Herbs rocks, and I think he would be an excellent ambassador.
And it's a great offer that he did that, because remember, like the old saying, right? You miss 100% of shot you don't take. At the end of the day, the position is vacant right now. So it's like just bringing that to the attention, and they gotta potentially have to fill out the position. And he seems qualified. I mean, and he's up for the task. So now it's a matter of them doing the review and looking at the resume and stuff like that. But I want to tell people, like, being an ambassador, it's like, as long as you're, decent, good, well-rounded person, it's not that big of a deal. I used to know people who were like ambassadors. They were telling me, like, you're out there shaking hands, kissing babies, being nice, you represent the country, and that's about it. And you go to a lot of galas and then you talk to investors and stuff. But like literally, it's almost like a networking event. You know what I mean? You're just a big networker for the country. Like,
what do you want to be ambassador for then?
Well, me?
Yeah. You just described what you're good at.
I mean, right? Funny. It would depend on the country, right? But ideally, a country that obviously I see myself living in, you know what I mean? So somewhere that I like the culture.
You could be the ambassador to the USA.
Well, hurry up, Kareem, hurry up and get your
I'm not American, so I can't be.
Hurry up and get your citizenship so we can get you appointed, man. Because
that'd be cool. That'd be so cool. Well,
he's motivated now.
You know what's funny? As of right now, I would say somewhere in Asia would be dope, because either Asia or somewhere in Africa, because Asia, Africa, or South America, for three simple reasons. Obviously, I love the culture, the food, and more importantly, long term, when you have a agenda crypto related like I do, this is where most of the growth, the development is going to come from. So I think it'll be good, because it's development, emerging markets. So I would like the challenge over there. It's better long term.
Kareem, though, you're not from the U.S. You weren't born in the U.S., so you could be the ambassador to the U.S. for your home country, right?
I could, but I think that position is already filled. But yeah, I could. Or another country that I know that's like on the verge of really, really like exploding in crypto, where I can literally move the needle. Like, for example, I wouldn't mind like ambassador for, Thailand, Singapore, places that I know they're already like, they're ready to go. They just need like the right connects, the right setup. And the next thing you know, you can just be that, that nice little nudge that just comes in and that can be the decisive factor to just completely flip this thing on its head. So that would be good. Or like, again, places in South America who are really good emerging markets, like somewhere like, like you got Brazil, you got Colombia, you got like Mexico too. If they start like certain pockets, it's like you start seeing crypto over there, which is really cool. When I was visiting Cabo and even visiting Tulum and stuff, like things are popping over there. They start to develop, you know what I mean? even it's funny to say, even like cartel people, they start to realize that, bro, if you do things legally and tourism, you can make more money. So it's about showing them other avenues where, listen, you can do the right thing and make more money than if you do illegal stuff.
Right.
So it's like, but a lot of those people, they don't know. They need to be taught. They think they only know one way because all their life they would learn this way, and they just live in that dark world instead of realizing that you don't have to do all that. You can get everything legit and make more money. And get your
Speaking of like political tweets and stuff, I've got a good like discussion topic for us, because I don't even know how I feel about this, but so I'm gonna try to give an example and then explain like the broader theme of like what we can discuss. So like the question is it like how do we feel about fake news if it's like bullish? Being like presented by members of our community. So for example, what do you guys, and I hope we have some disagreement so we can really like get to the heart of the issue, but like, how do you feel about people saying Richard Hart has already beat the SEC? How do you feel about people saying Donald Trump Jr. tweeted that Richard Hart is innocent and that that he's going to drop the case or whatever? So these are examples of things that aren't necessarily true, but they get because his account was hacked when he tweeted that.
Oh, okay. Well,
by a Hexagon, apparently.
Yeah, right.
Well, not by a Hexagon, but there were like lots of like weird tweets that came out that day, and like that was one of them.
Okay. But technically, Matty, it is still a factual statement saying that the Twitter account tweeted what he tweeted. Now we can debate that. Oh yeah, he was hacked, this, that, and the third. But nonetheless, the tweet did.
But when people are saying like not presenting it that way, like for example, Hexologist, who I love, like he made a tweet or something that was like implying that it was a real tweet, and that made other people think that it's a real tweet. And so I'm asking, like, what do we think, and what do we do if people are misrepresenting the facts, but it's bullish?
Well, I'll say this,
and it's coming from our community. So we'll go around the room and we can kind of just discuss like what your thoughts are.
Abdul, go first. I want to hear what you have to say. I don't want to be biased, but I know what I'm going to say. But Abdul, go first.
I think there's degrees. So if something is done tongue in cheek with the proper amount of humor, you can say almost anything. But it should be apparent that it's not true. Like if I were to be like, Donald Trump, has officially become an ambassador for HEX, right? And be like, well, that's probably almost certainly not true. Right. That's like, a tongue with a silly picture attached of Donald Trump with a fake HEX hat that I photoshopped on with my meager skills. Then that becomes satire, and it's funny. It can still be engaging. But for me to do something like use AI to make Donald Trump say something that appeared real and then tell people it's real, well, that's just wrong. And I think if I saw somebody else doing stuff like that, that was otherwise beneficial for my community and my bags, well, I would probably respond with humor, like, that's pretty hilarious. I wish that was true and not cheesy AI.
To give context. Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's my position.
Because it's key. Rule number one, right? Where is the platform? It's Twitter. It's known to be like, the trolling and everything. You got Elon Musk being the meme lord. Now, that being said, it goes back to something I always say, and I talk to all my friends all the time. I always look at it like, is there malice intention, right? I always ask people, like, do you have malice in your heart? Like, those are the main thing that I will always look at. If there is not, I would totally understand that, okay, the person is just being tongue in cheek. And then at best, for the people who ask the question who don't know, I will provide what I call clarity. Just to say, no, hey, they have just adding the clarity. I won't necessarily go and call out the person and this and that. I will just more be like, no, I know they're not saying that with malice because they're not known to be people that do something like that.
But like intention is relative. Like nobody thinks they're the bad guy, right? Everybody thinks they're the good guy.
But it depends on how they think it's being presented, right? For example, I'll give you another example about the whole Donald Trump thing, whatever. I can say Donald Trump is, pro towards the idea of, HEX Why? Because he created his own coin that's kind of like DeFi related. So I can say he's pro DeFi. So again, there's way you can see connectivity the same way market was pumping, because he has said multiple times he's pro crypto. He has said multiple times that he wants innovation to come from the United States. You know what I mean? Potentially the Bitcoin reserve and all that kind of jazz. But at the end of the day, market took that seriously and they voted with the dollar. So there's certain conjectures that we can make a safe assumption. Now, is it a guarantee? No. The same way, like, sometimes you make promises and you try your best and then you try to fulfill all of them, and you may or may not be able to do because maybe, other part of government is stopping you. But that doesn't mean that you didn't have the intention to make it happen. We know for a fact that Trump Jr. knows Richard Hart and HEX. That's a fact. He may have not like tweeted or account hack this, that. We'll never get to the bottom of it, because sometimes some people say stuff and then they say my account got hacked, so we'll never know. But we know for a fact he knows about Richard Hart. We know for a fact that he's watching. He's pro crypto, because this is the reason why they even created their coin, which is very similar to what a DeFi coin would be. So you'll be naive to think that they don't know they may not know all the intricacy of the smart contract and how it plays out. But, certificate deposit on the blockchain, high yield interest rate, no, you will be naive to think they don't know that. And we're literally the king at that, the pioneer. A lot of people trying to copy what we did. A lot of the reason why, actually, if you guys really pay attention, you will know this too, why we're catching all this fade from the SEC and stuff, because there's certain powers that be that wish they created what Richard created. You understand? They're just trying to eliminate a player so that they can be the player. You understand? This is one of the reasons why even the gatekeeping, the not being.
But I disagree. I don't think that the SEC wants to launch
not the SEC. I'm saying powers that be that funds the SEC to pursue certain endeavor. Because you gotta understand, like Elon said it perfect. Those people, the bureaucrats, their goal is, when I'm done with my turn, I'm gonna go work at so and so company or law firm or this and that. Gary Gensler was caught many times when he was doing the MIT stuff, loving crypto, loving DeFi, talking about how great it is, and all of a sudden he becomes SEC chair and then he changes his tune. Come on, we're not stupid. I mean, again. They have to mask it, but we understand, because there's conflict of interest. We understand how the incentives are played. That's why we're in crypto. What's the one beautiful thing about crypto? It teaches you about if the incentives and the interests are aligned, people can behave in their best interest while behaving in the best interest of the community. But the design intention needs to be done a certain way. Where sadly in the government and the SEC stuff, Elon pointed it out many times. It's just true. The incentives are literally aligned to collude, aligned to do certain things, because at the end of your term, you're going to go work at so-and-so company. And that's the thing that it's undeniable, and it sucks until it gets fixed. It's same thing why you're dealing with senators and Congress people that no term limits, all this bullshit. No wonder why they don't care. No wonder why they just do whatever they want, because they know there's no checks and balance. Once we fix all that, once we realign the incentive to actually do the will of the people, right? Now those people are going to think twice before they do something that's clearly not the right thing to do. So that's what I want to point out. But again, I will always say in conclusion that fake news is fake news. I don't appreciate fake news, but if it's something community related, I'll take things with a grain of salt. It's just because sometimes you can clearly see if somebody has usually troll and have tendency to always be like that, then you understand that it's most likely tongue in cheek. And then just provide clarity for the people in the comment. That's all it is. You know what I mean? So,
Fast Abdul, what do you think about saying we've already beat the SEC?
I think that one could be interpreted as just a bullish statement, right? We've already beat the SEC, we're going to beat the SEC. It's not unless they provided a false, document or picture that indicated that it was over, right? It's not over yet, but we've already beat the SEC. I think that's an acceptable statement that is not definitively truthful, but is bullish in nature. Of course, those kind of nuances will be lost on anybody who English isn't their first language, or they're not used to crypto culture, or they haven't been a Hexagon for 5 years. It's very specific, right?
Or being to the court place,
or they live outside of the U.S. or not familiar with legal processes.
All those things. Yeah. But there's sort of a line there, right? Like if I were to say that HEX is going to go to $500 one day, right? It's like, which is not financial advice to be sure, but it's like, it's a bullish statement that's forward looking, that cannot be backed up with facts at that time, but is not impossible. So
all you have to do is say what you just said and just add the "I believe" in front of it, and that's it.
Yeah.
Nobody cares, because then it's like, hey, you know what I mean? And I would even add to say, in a balance of probability, right? Given what we have seen, given what I have been, witnessing, I will say in the balance of probability, it is a very high likelihood, especially for HEX, that that we have already beat the SEC, because again, there's nothing really tangible that is left, that is there. Now, that being said, can they drag it and make it longer and all sorts of stuff? Yeah, possibly. But is that going to change the outcome? No. It's just like, we're talking more about how they can drag it, but nobody here in their right mind is.
You're saying we've already beat the SEC.
Exactly. We haven't. No, we haven't already beat the SEC. Okay. Obviously, they're still debating whether they have jurisdiction. So we have not. Just for anybody who's curious, who really wants to know the truth, we haven't beat the SEC yet, and it's going to be glorious if and when we do.
Agreed. I think
how about this?
The concept of it, like a bullish statements versus fake news. That's sort of the distinction that I'm saying.
Exactly.
Right.
Because fake news is literally like you're making stuff up where it's like there's zero probability of that thing happening. But if there's something,
it could be real. Like you could say something like HEX has officially beaten the SEC. The court case is over. Like that could happen, but it's like that as of this moment, that's fake news, right?
Exactly.
But to say like a bullish statement like HEX has already beaten the SEC. Right, or pulse chain, RH, whatever. That's the gray area. Versus to say the case is officially over and we won. That's fake news.
One is a continuous statement in the future, and the other one is just standing out. It's a fact that already passed. That's the difference. Again, it's nuance in the English. If you're saying something where it's like you believe on something that is a balance probability, it will be happening soon, and that's what you believe, that's one thing. But if you say, oh, it's already done, it has passed, and then it's like, well, somebody go look it up and it hasn't, then again, that's a lie. So that's what the deal.
Who's saying this stuff? Like why? Like with crypto, reputation is everything, right? So I like my share of jokes to be sure, but if you're putting forward clearly false statements with the intent of people believing them, like fake news, then those people will lose their following, I suspect.
Because again, it is malicious. That's what you should avoid.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I don't know that we're seeing that though, but it does fall into this gray area, which is why it's such a good discussion point. Now, here's another one, and I'm just gonna say one of the three is a tweet that I've made, and you'll get to guess which one. But so, all right, here's another example. HEX will be mainstream this cycle.
Bro, we're mainstream for the most part. What are you talking about? People know about us. It's not because
fake news, exaggeration, or hard truth. Like where is that landing?
Bullish statement.
You can say bullish statement. I mean, it depends. I believe that to some degree, we're already like mainstream. Crypto, Twitter, all this stuff. Now, for me, there's multiple level of mainstream. You could be like mainstream, but then people still just have like reservation. And then you can be like mainstream, and then now everybody's onto it. It's kind of like you heard of something, although you're not part of it, but you heard of it at least. We definitely are past that stage. Now it's like I heard of it, and now I want to participate and be catching the wave and be part of it and wear the T-shirt and all this other stuff and get involved in the community. That, I think, is what we're going to do this cycle. But the whole being known, oh, trust me, 4 years, places that even me, I was shocked. I was like walking around, people recognizing me, recognizing HEX, the logo, this, that. Like, yeah, remember I told y'all the lawyers say, oh, Kareem, I'm glad you're out, this, that. I'm like, whoa, I was shocked because sometimes we think in our little bubble, oh, who's watching us, right? But you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. A lot of those views that we're getting, Sometimes we think it's just the same recurring people. That's not always true. You can have literally thousands of views every video, but that doesn't mean it's the same people.
It's not how many people are watching, it's who's watching and how influential are they and how big are their bags. And I think this show prides itself on having
and let's not forget that Richard has so many videos online YouTubers who are very good, who are aging very, very well, where he's been vindicated many, many times, especially those videos when he saved a lot of people from centralized exchange that went bust and whatever. People forget. HEX got a lot of following because of those videos, how he literally told people what was going to happen, and it happened.
Hexologist is getting ready to redo all the thumbnails for Richard's channel. Which
so much gold in it.
He thinks will reactivate them in the algorithm, that's pretty cool.
Because the content is so good. You got those videos when he's just straight up pure fact schooling, educating about literally business, finance, educating about crypto, schooling the Bitcoin maxi that pretend that they know more. You're like, bro, I know more about Bitcoin than even you, Mr. Maxi, big time. Telling about people about how to avoid, scams, exchanges, videos when he literally teach about hacks and how to avoid them and certain things and how to even something basic as upgrading your computer, watch out for this, watch out for that. Like he will go into some level of detail just to make sure that you're protected. You don't have to do that, but he does that and he warns people, and that's huge. And those videos are still up there catching hundreds of thousands of views. People forget that. And then even some of us, we said it many times where sometimes, we miss Richard. We just go back and rehash some old videos. Or, shout out to Super Hex. He's really good at that, like catching those old clips from Richard, reposting them, and they're just really good, on point at different times. Yeah. Some of it even going back to like 2019. Like that's how good those videos are. And even 5 years later, they're still relevant. You can still go back to an old Richard Hart video and be like, wow, that thing applies even today. You're in doubt, boom. This is almost like, what would Richard do? You literally can like search it and then you can find it. Oh, this topic, he talked about it. Let me look it up. Boom. What would Richard answer about this? Boom. And then you'll get the answer for it. So that by itself has onboarded, I believe, just as much people as, people like myself, Maddie, and whoever was on the field talking to people directly. So because it was just pure facts, because he's just showing that he cares and that, listen, I'm already rich. I'm just trying to help you so you understand why we do what we do and why, this thing matter, why security matter, why decentralization matter, how this can help you, why you shouldn't trade, and why, high yield and passive investment is the way to go, why delayed gratification is the foundation of building wealth, like all those things. And then he combines it with sci-vibes too, every now and then in those 6-hour streams. If you guys remember, it wasn't just all crypto. Sometimes, we going on tangent and he start talking about science and other things and research and longevity, and it was just cool. And I think honestly that's what we miss the most, not so much about the crypto stuff but more about the other stuff, because every diehard Hexican knows after 6 months to a year, most of what Richard said we kind of already knew. It was the other the small talks, we're just hanging out, you know what I mean, like we're doing right now.
Yeah, he's a charismatic dude, right? If it's a leader that if people can feel like they have a connection with him because he talks about different subjects, then that's overall beneficial, to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely trade the old videos for one new video, though. That's what I'm really waiting for.
What? Why? Explain.
Well, I think we need the forward momentum of RH is back, right? Like that is going to be the news of the day, and not just in Hexico.
Yeah, I think it will come very soon once we, get some type of partial or judgment from the judge. I think maybe not a Richard live stream, but probably some type of recorded video like he did one time, because I know Rich always loved to do that. I expect a video again, guys. Chill out. It's no guarantee. Again, remember I said I expect, right? Kareem said expectation. I believe doesn't mean it's gonna happen. But many years in a row, he has always done that. Rich always had a short clip video saying either Merry Christmas. He has almost never missed one.
There's never been a Christmas without an RH video.
Exactly.
There's never been a Christmas.
There's never been. You know what I mean?
At least pre-recorded.
I will be, yeah, exactly. I will be damned if you break that tradition. You know what I mean? Because he loves the community so much. Now, if he can, he can, I understand. But there's never been, and again, that's a fact we can use.
But this last year, the SEC stuff was going on, and we got a video.
Exactly.
Last time he was live was the HEX conference, January 23.
That's what I said. I don't expect it to be live.
The last time we got a video was Christmas, right?
Yeah, some type of video pre-recorded, boom. So either Christmas, it will be my biggest, like highest probability. If we're lucky, we might get a Thanksgiving one too. Because again, it's about family, community is like family. Thanksgiving is about gratitude, what you're grateful for.
That's coming up.
You know what I mean? Richard is always the grateful type. So it's like that could happen again. But if I were to put a probability, highest probability will be Christmas. Second highest probability will be Thanksgiving. And third will be New Year's Eve.
What about the HEX 5-year anniversary?
Well, with that too, but that he can do a tweet. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because he has done sometimes just a tweet for that. So, but the video, little short video, because the video is good. Because guess what? Which is why Richard is so smart. He talks to the community as an extension of the family, and chances are, watch this. Where are you gonna be on Christmas? Haha. Where are you going to be on Thanksgiving? You're with your family too. Yeah. And then Arish put the video. You play it on TV. The whole family gets it. So it's like he talks to everybody all at once. Why do you think even crypto in general, usually Bitcoin pumps a lot around this time in the Q4? Because a lot of the time people are going to be with family. So you meet that uncle and that auntie. People were talking shit about, oh, crypto is this and it's not going to go. And then now you can show up to dinner and be like, hey, uncle, look at my crypto portfolio. Bitcoin is 85, 89K. What do you have to say now? Right? So the timing of it is what makes it so powerful. Never underestimate that. And that's a great opportunity to have a bigger audience, talk to multiple people all at once. You have the biggest impact because you know you can't always be there, right? Video-wise and whatever. So if you're going to do it, you got to do it when it counts. So, and it will be a posted videos on again, that is my speculation. And it is true. Matty said it. He never
what's the benchmark for RH can start streaming again on the regular if he wants to? He doesn't owe us anything.
Well, I do.
Like what has to happen with the court case? Like at what point is that on the table again? Because I feel like it's not on the table for him right now, which is why he's not doing it. So
yeah, because
like partial
I think it's not on the table right now, only because he's playing safe and not sorry. In other words, I think he could do it, but just to be on the caution side, to not give them a last minute breath that they can use to be like, oh, then he's gonna wait. But I am very confident. I'm saying this with literally the most confident I ever had. Again, I was there. I listened to what the judge said. I was in that freaking room. And the judge is very fucking smart. If and when we get that partial judgment from the judge, and I'm putting if statement, and there's a high probability that could happen, if at least HEX, this is very specific, if at least HEX gets tossed out, and then the rest is kind of like, we'll see what happens, bro, I'm telling you, we're getting a video. Because that is the main one. That is and there's a high chance that one get tossed out because this literally, like the guy said, there's no meat on the bone. We don't even know if there is a bone. So if at least HEX gets tossed out and the other one is on shaky ground, and then he might continue, but then we're just gonna hit it with more facts, then at least we're gonna be getting those. Now,
I've got a solution.
I'm sorry.
I've got a solution, but do you want to finish your thought, or were you gonna?
Yeah, just real quick. So if at least HEX gets tossed out and then the other stuff continue, we're gonna get video. But if for whatever some crazy reason, all three still kind of continue, which I still believe we're going to win, but it just gets dragged down, then we're probably not going to have any video until the thing gets closed out. Maddie, go ahead.
Okay, Richard. Right? So just go live and start the video with, if you live in the United States, leave the room, right? Earmuffs. Yeah, just tell people it's on you to leave the room, right? To turn off this video. You must turn off this video if you are standing in the United States or from the United States. Problem solved, right?
Lol. Yeah,
That's-
I would
That's
propose
the
that
issue.
you could not talk about crypto and do a video, and that would likely be okay as well. But with the pre-recorded thing, I would suggest that he could make pre-recorded videos, show them to his lawyers, and be like, "Edit, please," and then present the video.
Of course,
that would be really expensive.
That's the beauty of pre-recording. You making sure everything is quote unquote checked out and then post. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though he prefers the live stuff, which is
You guys don't like my idea?
no, yeah, this is great, man. It's funny, but the thing is like, who's gonna listen? They're gonna be like,
I mean,
it'll be funny.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd have to like stream it on a service that was officially blocked in the USA. Like,
yes,
maybe couldn't be on YouTube in
no.
general, and then tell people if you're from
You
the
just
US.
protect the investors. You protect them by saying if you're from the United States, you're not allowed to listen.
What if the hater said, "Oh, you got brainwashed and blah, blah, and forth"? You know what I mean? They're gonna be like, "It's on you to make sure they can't watch it." You know what I mean? Like people just twist it like that. So that's why Abdul is saying you got to have something that's bulletproof that clearly avoid those people. And then if you find a way to circumvent and get access to it, then that's on you, because at least you can say, "Hey, I try to avoid those people." But if you just say, "Hey, go live," and then people who subscribe to you go there and expect them not to watch, that's like.
I don't think the legal system would be sympathetic. It's kind of like saying, this isn't financial advice, but I 100% believe that Bitcoin's going to $50 million this year, which is not true, in my opinion. It's like, okay, you said it wasn't financial advice, but then, it's too much. It's too far.
Yeah.
But are you guys even ready for us to be at a new all-time high? Because I would expect that might be part of the calculus too. Like when would Richard stream again? Well, maybe he wants the community to prove that we can get it to a new all-time high before he jumps on board and takes us to Saturn, right?
Mm-hmm. Right now, I mean,
Kareem, do you want HEX to 10x tomorrow?
Well, I wouldn't say tomorrow because I don't want that to turn into a pump and dump. But
or are you in accumulation mode? Like, are you trying to get your t-shirts back?
I'm definitely going to get my t-shirt back, irrespective of price. That's a fact, no matter what. Because again,
if HEX was $1 tomorrow,
that doesn't mean nothing to me. I'll keep buying because it doesn't matter because it's about t-shirt preservation. So it's like it's $1, right? Okay, cool. Well, we'll add more to it.
So you're ready? Okay.
Yes.
Fast Abdul, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I would take the pump right now. My bags are packed, so to speak. But as far as the strategy of Richard waiting to come back to the community, I think there's on the first day he can come back, he should come back. In my opinion, there's too much to gain and less to lose by him coming back when it is feasible. I wouldn't delay it for any particular reason.
Yeah. I give you an even better answer, right? Because I remember the last time when we 100x and it was so glorious, right? What was so good about it, for those who forgot who were not here, it wasn't the fact that he 100x overnight. Actually, what was so glorious about it was kind of like a trolling, but I love it. It was the fact that every day, almost every other hour, HEX just did a new all-time high. It was so cool. It was just the constant stimulus. It was the best marketing ever. And that's what I like. Up and to the right diagonal. Not like, oh my God, we pumped fucking 1,000,000% literally in one candle. Okay, it looks good for a second and then people forget about it. I'm in the news. No, I like that. Boom, it's up 10%. Oh my God, and it's euphoria for like 2 hours. And then you think it's over. Boom, it pumps another 10% 6 hours later. What the hell? And then boom, and then people sell and you think, oh my God, it's gonna go red. And then boom, it makes a new all-time high the next day. And then literally every day, new all-time high for like 20 days straight. It was crazy. People just kept pitching left and right. They just couldn't help it. It was like screenshot after screenshot. And I like those kind of like gradual momentum. Not just a one-time big pump. Okay, cool, we made money. The haters don't care anyway. So it's like whatever. But it's like the everyday new high. And then people be like, yeah, this is the top. This is the top. And then 6 hours later, that to me, it's way better. because you're getting the new all-time high and then you're welcoming people to join the wagon. That's what's fun. If you pump too much too fast, it's not organic. It's a pump and down. You scare potential new people to come in because they're like, oh, it pumped so much already. I can't get in. Da-da-da. Versus it's like, hey, did you catch this double? No worries. You get to the next double. Hop on the bus. We'll get to the next double. Oh, I heard about it, but I wasn't sure. Da-da-da. Bro, hop in. Next double. Bring your friends. Next double. Bring your friends. 12 fucking doubles. Come on now. That was what's glorious about it. Imagine we did fucking 6, 7 doubles in a matter of like 48 hours. We probably had less people in the community because the other people didn't get the chance to hop in. So if you genuinely ask me, that I prefer that. I prefer from literally going every day up for literally 60 days in a row, all the way to New Year's. Then if you tell me, oh, we just 10x this week, I'll be excited. We're going to hit euphoria. People are going to be happy. Obviously, we're already happy anyway. We're collecting yield. We're chilling. But, and then the rest of the year, nothing. Nah, I'll rather just take it little by little. It's more fun that way. Because you're trying to include more people, and then it's better. Onboarding is better. Long term, it's better. Organic posts, better. You know what I mean? You know, no pay ads, no fake shields that are just coming here to dump on your heads. No, none of that. And that way, too, people like the bank HEX of the world, you don't want to just let them exit 500 million HEX like at the top like that. So, no, let them slowly, surely take the money out. So they're going to profit, but they're not going to just like see a crazy candle and then just unload everything on our head and then just made out like we're bandits. I'd rather just give them a little bit over time than all at once. I think that's better. That's my humble opinion, because that was one of the most fun time to be in HEX. I will never forget that. We didn't even care about the price. We were just happy just to brag about the new all-time high. I was joking out with Freddie Quotes. I was like, oh, excuse me. I know you're at work right now. Stop what you're doing. HEX just did a new all-time high. That was the most cool. And we were trolling people. It was so cool. Even us, I told when I was working, I remember I was with a customer. I was still selling at the time on my solar gig. And I just closed this big deal, 20 kilowatt. Big ass house, 10,000 square feet. I just made like 6,000 commission. It was awesome. It was like a $100,000+ system. And I'm like, and I'm dealing with this customer, but I just glue on my phone. And I was like, I walked outside and I yeah. And you know what? My customer looked at me weird, like, what's going on? I said, yeah, it's this HEX thing. And then I onboarded him too. It was the funniest thing. So it's like, you know, because it's everybody happy, community happy, people making like, bro, we were just all over the place. That's why I know when the price started to trend back up, forget 20 cents. I'm telling you, once we pass 4 or 5 cents, it's on. Liquidity goes fast, like to the downside, which then means that price pumps exponentially faster. Because right now, we're just, you know, off the bear market. Somebody has a great post on Twitter that was showing about the HEX liquidity on PHEX, how it's literally been like shorting. The same way, you know, the Bitcoin reserve, Ethereum reserve has been dwindling. The last time they saw numbers like that was back in 2021. This is why I wouldn't be surprised if those people don't fumble the bag. You can easily see $120,000 Bitcoin because, again, the time where there was a lot of liquidity hanging around on exchange, all that got sucked out. Same thing with PHEX. A lot of it got sucked out. A lot of liquidity got removed. A lot of it got sacrificed. Don't forget that. All that is going to go away. So once the real pump starts, and then you invite people to join the pump, that's when it gets really, really powerful. You don't just want one person pumping and everybody just looking at it. No, it's more fun when you participate in the pump.
Nice. Yeah. There's levels.
Oh, and one last thing. Remember those times when on a Friday we made those funny things when we did this like coordinated pump as a community, as a joke. Everybody pumped like $100 or more. We would just market buy just for fun. Remember that? It was because of this. We wanted to see a new all-time high. People were just throwing money just to see it. We were like, let's see if we can reach this number. And boom. When you get community buying like that, because everybody know they're going to be taken care of, that's really where you win.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Mm-hmm. What'd you say, Abdul?
I said that sounds like it would be an exciting day.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
Oh,
we got one coming up. ChrispyMan might be able to tell us later in the show. There's a there's a group staking day for the anniversary. Everybody's going to stake Quattro
right.
Cinco for Quattro Cinco
That's a
on
good thing.
the 2nd or 3rd of December. So, if you think the price is going to be higher, not financial advice, but you might want to load up your 5,555 hex now. Get it ready to go.
Yes. Oh, we got good stuff in the chat here, which is cool. Yeah, Joe is right. It'll be so cool to hear Richard's famous line like that. Hello, everybody. Richard Hart here. That's
Richard
cool.
Hart here.
It's the version of Maddie said, and we're live.
Yeah.
And then that's a good question too from Yellowtail. He says, what do you guys think about Rackham coming back? I mean, for me, my 2 cents is, I'm glad for his sake that that he's quote unquote safe, healthy, and because he said based on his tweet that he had a rough divorce or something like that. It's not always fun. I know people that went through rough stuff like that. But that being said, you know what I mean? Even when he said it's not him that sold, because I do remember he had one of his wallet that was like combined with a bunch of people and this and that. So he was trying to say that he wasn't the one that sold. It was just other people and this, that. It's all fun and game, but I will never forget what he did during the sacrifice phase when he murdered the price and people got shittier rate. That was not, even if you play sports, that was not sportsmanship. Godwell didn't do that. Godwell pumped for everybody. He was such a fucking he ride that cocktail too. Godwell literally pumped. I will never forget that. He pumped using ETH, get everybody a better rate, and then he sacrificed for USDC just to let you know, I don't even need it, but I did this for you guys. And then you benefit from that. Then you sack and then you murder the price. Nah. Again, not God, but remember the saying, right? We forgive. Welcome back in the community. I'm glad you want to hold coins for long term, but we don't forget. Because if you forget, when that happens again at higher prices, we're going to look at each other like, how the hell did this happen? So,
look.
Yeah, go ahead.
If Rackham wants to be a man of his word, he can use Time Pays Me to time lock his Pulse and PulseX, and then we don't have to trust his cool story, bro. Mm-hmm. But I doubt that he'll do that because I don't think that he's been a community player. And I know, I know that certain people have a soft spot for him and that sort of thing. But again, it's like, if you were pooling your funds and giving everybody else a worse rate, and then you were manipulating the price on top of that, that sounds pretty illegal to me. And what a bad actor would do. So, hey, why don't you prove me wrong and, use some real DeFi out here to show us your truth engine? Because that's what HEX is. HEX is a truth engine where you get rewarded for doing what you say and saying what you do by time locking, by paying your future self. And now you can do that with like I said, PulseX incentive token. You can take it, you can time lock it, you can drip it back to yourself over time. Timepays.me. It's got an audit. It's got a tutorial at x.com/timepaysme. And that's what would prove to me, because crypto is not about trusting somebody like a middleman or a fiat system. It's about proof and cryptography and all that good kind of stuff. So
yeah, it's about trustless trust. You know what I mean? And that's the key. And it's funny. Another thing to remind people who are not here before, but Rackham was also known in the community to never, and that's fine, and that's to each their own. He was never even already a big fan of staking long to begin with. So that's also where, like, this track record is nothing new. So for the non-side, what he says, bro, you can't say anything about it because you're going to murder the price in 6 years and no, that's the big difference. You must be new here. You don't know me. When in 6 years my first day comes out, I always do what I always preach, which is, you restake the principal, you leave off the interest. So there's no murdering of the price, bro, right? So go know your facts. You don't know how the dream account works. So before you come and step in, talk, know your facts. And again, to each their own. Rackham was never a big staker, long-term staker, which is fine. He was still cool in the community. But again, he said he's going to do one thing and then he did another thing. And when he murdered that price, and a lot of people got hurt for that on their sacrifice, it's not something that I can easily forget when there was literally a clear path where everybody could benefit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, that being said, I still blame those people for not respecting the plan and sacrifice within the first 5 days. Their own greed put them in a situation where by day, I think it was six or seven, right after that, when the 5% penalty started, that's when Rakam murdered the price and people panic sacrifice at the low when the TWAP was like 9 cents. It was bad because thanks to Godwell, we went all the way to 21 cents, almost 23 cents. I know because I sacrificed right around there. And I literally tweeted about it. Hey guys, the well righted for us. He literally pumped for 48 hours straight. Then he sacrificed. I tell everybody, hey, he sacrificed. It's good. Now it's like, you know what I mean? You're good to go. But then because those people dragged too long, yes, Rackham did murder the price. But I always give people, you got to have accountability. Their own greed, thinking that, oh, it's going to go higher. And then they were waiting, and then the price got murdered. So that's why it ended up happening. So
I don't think we should shame people for selling.
There's nothing wrong with selling.
Give them a reason not to sell, and so like a guy like him who seems like he's probably all business. Like,
Abdul, that's not selling. Sorry to correct you. That wasn't what it was. It wasn't selling. It was, let me murder the price after I sacrifice so I can be in the top ranking. So you get a shitty rate. You understand? It was dumpermental.
After he bribed all the YouTubers $500 to try to manipulate Richard, he decided to go directly to the market and manipulate the market once he understood the rules of the game.
Because if there's one thing that I will not tolerate is people insulting my intelligence or insulting the community's intelligence.
so
Because here's the thing.
Price and before he sacrificed.
No. He sacrificed following Godwell. Godwell created the pump. That's also how he got, because he didn't sacrifice basically using USDC like Godwell. He uses Pulse. Ether, sorry. He used Ether. After the price was right. So he benefited from the pump that Godwell did. Okay. Because remember, he's not like Godwell. They got a similar amount close to, they were like number 3 sacrifice because he pulled with a bunch of people, which is fine. Not ego, great idea, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people, better rate, all that stuff. But because you're benefiting from all of that, you benefit from Godwell, you benefit from the pool. So you had literally no reason to murder the price. Everything happened good. You sacrifice, I sacrifice. Bunch of people, thank God, most of the people sacrifice. But then if about, let's say 15, 20% of people, the greedy one, because I will call them like, because that's also their fault. They wanted to wait longer, thinking the price is going to continue to go higher, thinking we're going to start getting the 5% penalty per day. But if the price is rising 10, 15, 20% a day, I'm going to get a better rate. So for their own greed, they waited. But then here comes Rackham, dumping the price hard on purpose. We talk about massive.
This dumping event was post pulse chain launch.
No.
This is what we sacrifice.
During the sacrifice. To manipulate how many points everybody would get.
Yes, the points that people get.
The price of what did he dump? The price of HEX?
Yes, because a lot of people, just so you understand, a lot of people were sacrificing.
So we're back to shaming the guy for selling then, right? Just because he sold.
No, it wasn't. No.
Okay. Just hear me out. Give me out 30 seconds. Okay. Just
Cream and I have separate analyses.
Okay. This is during the sacrifice phase. A lot of the Hexicans who don't have a lot of money, they sacrifice HEX. You understand? Because it was the highest value. And during that time, because also low liquidity, by pumping the price of HEX, which God will help doing a lot of it too, it allows you, let's say if you have $1,000 to sacrifice, but then by the time the sacrifice started, the price literally did another double or 2 doubles. Now all of a sudden your $1,000 worth $3,000 or $4,000. So you have more points for your sacrifice. Okay. Courtesy of effort of the community and primarily Godwell pushing the price up for everybody. And he clearly didn't have to, because again, after pushing the price, he used literally stable coin to sacrifice, just to kind of let you know, I don't need it, but I did it for you guys, and pushing the price up is good for everybody, blah, blah, blah. Because Richard also pointed it out, which is awesome. Sacrifice was also a good way also to remove HEX liquidity while pushing the price up, which is a genius idea. Again, he come up with genius idea nobody has done before, right? He's the reason, he's the one that popularized sacrifice. Let's not forget that too. So now everything goes according to plan. God will sacrifice. Most of the people who listen to what we're talking about, literally on the game, coin game back then, sacrifice. Rakam and crew sacrifice. And now instead of just letting it be, you understand? This is where the deferred action is. You have no reason to. Be very important what I'm about to say. You have no reason to. You don't need the money, none of that. You decide to murder the price down, market dump. Because remember, like I said, this guy don't really stake. But for
after saying he's never going to sell.
Exactly. After saying he's never going to sell. Because again, nobody forced you to make that
publicly to get other people to hold and buy.
You're trying to say you're the good guy, this and that. You don't stake long term. That's fine. You used to do rotation stake. That's cool. You've done rotation stake for years. You never sell big amount for years. And now all of a sudden you sell like somewhere in the vicinity of 50 million HEX within an hour, clearly pushing the price down, create panic. People sacrifice at the low, panic sacrifice, get a shittier rate. Then you pump the price back up. Let me, because that's the part that people forget. To just bring it back to where it was, but you create panic, force people to sacrifice, to then bring it back up. So you mess up the ratio for everybody. You create panic just so that you can play the trader, because he was and is still a trader. Don't fall for that. Even the video that he's reposting, right? Those are old video, in this car, whatever, the HEX video stuff. Those are old videos. I've seen that before. So what I'm saying is,
he's a trader. Is that it then?
No, I'm just saying, don't say, what did we just talk about earlier about fake news? Do not say that you're somebody that you're not, period. When you first came here on this show, right? What did I told you?
Look, so we're not mad about him selling or about being a trader. We're mad because he misrepresented himself.
I'll give my example. So yes, there are lots of illegal behaviors here. It is illegal to go on camera and tell people, buy, I'm not selling, and then dump millions of dollars the next day. That is illegal. That's market manipulation. It's also illegal to pool your money together and promise investors things, especially if you've registered as a company and you've put out press releases saying that you are that people can expect profit from this pulse chain sacrifice, and you're the only company that's publicly or that's on the pink sheets or whatever being traded. So there's this multiple instances of illegal behavior. There's multiple instances of immoral behavior and trying to manipulate people. So it's like what we saw with Gunther, and except it on kind of a bigger scale.
Right. You talk a good game, but then you don't deliver, and then you expect people to just forget. Like, no, that's not how this works. And one more thing too, because maybe you were not in the community yet. This is the same person that was like also mad and pressuring Richard and getting mad and talk about, he's a Saudi Arabian investor and this, that, talking shit for a while, and then all of a sudden change the tune. So it's like there's a lot of bipolar behavior. Like, I don't do that. I don't do flip-flap. Like, people that really knows me, they know. You're either in or you're out. To each their own, nobody's judging you. But don't say that you're something that you're not, because I will check you on that. Because, integrity is number one. Like you said, and like we have said, we have no problem. I got friends who are traders, just so you know. I got friends who do whatever. I have no problem against that. They do their thing, I do my thing. One of my friends literally do Forex trading and all that stuff. It's just because I'm confident to know that I don't need to do that stuff. I'm good. I don't judge. All that stuff. The same way we're talking about those who want to provide liquidity, this sort of stuff, that's fine. But do not come here, convince people, tell Hexican one thing, and then you literally like lie to their face, then you spit on their face. Like, no. And the worst part is, once again, this was really the key time to sacrifice. A lot of people, literally, their sacrifice got literally cut in half. If that was you, you will be pissed too for something that the person does not need to do.
Because theirs got cut in half, he ended up getting a larger proportion, relatively speaking, right?
No. His portion was already set. That's the level of greed that we're talking about. He was already number 3 wallet after Godwell, because he benefited from the pump that Godwell created. Yeah. Godwell sacrificed like $40 million, something like that, 30 plus. And then they did in his crew like 20 some million. So he was already like the 3rd biggest wallet.
Yeah, but he could have lost that position, and he created a scenario.
No, he could not. No, he could not. I'm telling you right now, he could not. We're talking about people, bro. People who are average.
About math. Math is a definitive thing. So if
Yes.
more people were able to sacrifice and pump themselves up, somebody else might have been able to catch them. And like even like the position, position is only part of it though. It's the percentage.
I understand what you're saying, but based on the bonuses that was given to some of the top 100 wallet and especially the top 10, because it's disproportionate to the bigger size. The people who got burned, right? Those people on average had literally a sacrifice of like $500 to maybe $5K. Okay, it's just that there's like thousands of them. That's why it's a big number. But in terms of individual, it's not that big. This is actually, respectfully, the thing that got me upset, because you absolutely do not need to do that. You know what I mean? The same way people need to be like, no, because you don't need to do that. You benefit greatly from Godwell. Things already has been done for you to do well, and you
was already
people. Yeah. So you do not need to go and hurt somebody else.
He was already getting a 2.2 or 2.3x multiplier for volume or whatever.
Yeah, and we're talking about points, of course, right? So he was getting more points, and then he wanted to get even more points,
right?
Because he was big on points. And so, like, I do find the anything where you're two-faced, you say you're going to do something,
right,
and then immediately do something else after, though people can change their mind. But
and he was already disproportionately advantageous. That's what I'm trying to tell you, because the simple fact that he pulled with the other people already gave him a bigger amount of points, because by himself, he probably was already like anywhere between 8 to 10 mil. He got to 20 mil with the other people.
You can't tell people you're rich enough, you don't deserve to be richer. Like,
that's
you
not
can't
the
tell
point.
people don't do illegal things, but you can't tell them like, oh, well, you already have enough money, so stop trying to make more, right?
Correct.
No, I understand that. But again, my point isn't that. My point is that you were already doing very, very well. The fact that you do something so bad, knowing that you're already good, it's beyond greed. This is literally malice. And then you have the audacity to come and tell, oh, you for the people and this, that, and the third. Like, no, like, I'm not buying that. That's some bullshit. That's like you're trying to insult my intelligence. Like, I'm not doing that. That's where the problem is. If you're going to be the big dog and unapologetic, do whatever you want to do, then just do it. You know what I mean? Like, Godwell just did his thing. He didn't ask for nobody, whatever. He didn't come and try to sway the community. He just said, hey, I'm going to do this, and boom. The way Godwell spoke to us was indirectly. He watched some of our stuff because he literally follows me on Twitter, and then he has literally done some of the stuff that I've done. He's a level 4 staker like me, like the staking 15 years, take 30%. He's literally done that. That's how he staked 1 billion HEX for 15 years. He literally did my strategy, and I was so happy about that. And on top of that, when we were talking about it at the time, when people were asking Kareem, what's the best strategy going to the sacrifice that will benefit everybody? And I literally thought long and hard. Maddie remembers it for like a week, how to come up with a really good strategy that benefits everybody, so I can be true to myself, get the best point, but trying to engineer something that everybody benefits. And this is why it was the early pump, pushing the price up, sacrificing with HEX specifically, because it's the one with the lowest liquidity that will push the price up to make everybody sacrifice better. So there was literally no flaw into that strategy. And Godwell agreed to it indirectly without talking. Why? Because he pumped the shit out of the HEX price. He was market buying 100 ETH at a time. Market buy, bro. You understand? And that's not counting all the little trader in between that were trying to push the price down. Godwell single-handedly made that double. If you go back and look at the HEX chart, you look right around 10 cents and he flew to 21 cents. Godwell did that. And a lot of people
think we know who Godwell is. Like, I don't like, I have no idea who he is, but do you think we've met him like in passing without knowing that that person is Godwell?
It could happen. I think he's with a group of people, but I know he texted me once, on Twitter and stuff, but I definitely know that he's in the community. He's been here a while. Again, he got the nickname going because he was an Ethereum ICO OG long-term holder. But one thing's for sure is that he agreed with the plan because he pumped the price, did everything right. Then he sacrificed with USDC because he had a ton of it. Because what Godwell was doing before, he had some Ethereum contract. He made a lot of money just doing a single trade with Ethereum. That was a gangster move. He made like $40 million because he had a bunch of ETH. ETH pumped to like 4K the first time. Then he sold it, pumped HEX, and went to USDC, then ETH kind of like pulled back to like 3,000, 2,000. He bought it back and then he sold it again. So he was already like way good. So when he bought the ETH deep with the $30 million that he had, or $40 million, what that was, he had so much ETH that he just started to market buy 2 days before the sacrifice, helping everybody get a better sacrifice rate, and at the same time removing HEX liquidity off because he wants to HEX to go at a higher price. He has said that many times, that he believed what Richard believed, that HEX is going to be in the hundreds of dollars. He literally said that. He tweeted that. That's God's well mission. And usually the super rich, that's what they do. They don't sell. They're just going to keep pushing the price up. Eventually, the thing gets used as collateral somewhere else. And then the goal is, you play the goal of getting loans against your asset, and then you never sell. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, every super rich understand that. The ultimate goal is you never sell. You just take loan against your asset, and then life goes on. Make sense?
You're saying that the God whale is probably Elon Musk.
No, I'm just saying he's using the right strategies. Man,
I got a better theory.
Are you even listening?
I
have a better theory.
Or are you trolling? I don't know.
Oh,
I can tell you why the theory is better too.
Go ahead.
I have a theory that it's Satoshi.
Really?
And the reason, well, I don't.
Now who's
this,
what?
But
who's that? What'd you say?
But that'd be cool, right? That'd be cooler than Elon Musk, is what I'm saying. Because look, Elon, sure, he's the richest dude in the world, like on paper, like registered with the government. But like the real richest person in the world is the person who has custody of their funds and doesn't have to suck middleman dick in order to move their funds around. And so I can tell you, Elon is probably not the richest person in the world. It's probably Richard Hart in terms of who has the most crypto in the world. And people could debate like, oh, well, like, what if it's Michael Saylor? What if it's somebody else? But like, what if it's Satoshi? I mean, Satoshi has 1 million coins.
Lately, Elon is really up there. Elon just cost $300 billion. That's
okay.
lot. So.
But what I'm saying is he can't send it to somebody else. He has to beg bankers to like liquidate. He has to follow laws that say like, whether he can sell all of it.
None of them can liquidate, Maddie. If you liquidate the thing,
people in crypto can. So crypto billionaires are built different than legacy billionaires. And when legacy billionaires start to understand that they don't have control of their own money because it's tied up in banks and it's tied up in corporations and it's tied up in like legal entities, so on and so forth. I think I have a really strong argument to say that a crypto billionaire is a different type of billionaire. It's a different class.
That's true. I give you 50%
because you can send.
But sending doesn't mean cashing out, because I can send it, but the moment I start cashing out, price goes down.
Correct. And that is a question of liquidity.
If you come up with a new world, hopefully in 2025 or 2026, when we live in a world where literally everything is just crypto, we never have to go back to fiat, you will be 1,000% correct. Because guess what? We will never have to worry about going back to fiat. So there's no cashing out. So literally, I can just send it to you. You take it as money, as face value, and that's that. That's the finality. I don't have to be like, oh, let me convert back to USD. No, the moment I can no longer do that, you're absolutely correct. Because it will be fluid, it will be easy. You can send $1 or you can send $1 billion like this, and you don't have to worry about calling the bank and say, oh, we got to call the supervisor and and or tell, oh, we can't put this money because we don't have it in the bank and you need to call. Right. Like none of this bullshit.
So, and then another point of order that I'll keep bringing up is the God whale has more T-shares for longer than the OA.
Exactly.
Right? So that is an incredible story as well.
True, but the OA has overall more T-shirts. So
no, same amount.
Well, a little bit more, because remember, the OA is benevolent in the sense where it could create more T-shirt if it wanted to, but we just choose not.
You're talking about potential T-shirts.
Well, yeah, but the total number of T-shirt, if you count the short-term one, I think it's slightly more than God.
No, I did it. I know, and I've got the numbers. I'll bring them up on screen exactly down to the very last.
And it could make sense because if you stake longer, you get more T-shirts. So maybe he gets less HEX, but because he's taking longer, he's getting more of the bonus.
I'm going to give you the exact numbers here. We got ChrispyMan joining us now. Welcome.
What's up, Crispy?
Are you not entertained?
Yes, sir. Right. So, and Maddie, just before we go ahead, just to conclude this whole Rackham thing for everybody, I want to be very, very crystal clear. Right. At the end of the day, well, I'm happy for him. Welcome back. So it's been the community. You know what I mean? There's no malice in my heart. But again, we forgive, but we don't forget. We're going to leave it at that. And this is just for the sanity of everybody and just looking out for the community. That's all. Because yeah, because
I don't think anybody got harmed by the sacrifice, because the nature of sacrifice is that you're sacrificing, you're doing an immutable thing, you're sending without expectation. So in that regard, I think it's all Gucci in terms of like that. But I do think that Rackham now, in order to win his way back into my heart, he needs to use Time Pays Me and lock up all of his crypto as much as he says he's going to, instead of making
and then no more shenanigans, like Maddie said, right? Don't say something and then don't do it. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do whatever you want to do, just do whatever you want to do, but don't come and make claim statements that you're gonna do X and then you do Y. Because guess what? Now we're gonna check you. I'd rather you don't say nothing and then you just do you. Because guess what? There's no expectation, and then we're just good. It'll be like me saying, hey, dream account, blah, blah, blah. We're going to do this, stake, and then I don't stake. Like, what? Like, no, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Because like Manny said, at least we can say, hey, the contract is here, is whatever. Because now, if you're trying to sway a certain outcome, at least people can say, you know what? Here's the receipt. But if there's no receipts, and then you try and pull favor, but then you heard people. Oh, and one more thing, Fast Abdul, that he leveraged also, while he was, pushing the price down and hurling people on their points. He also knew that during the sacrifice phase, a lot of people were market buying HEX to help other Hexicans sacrifice at a higher price and also getting more coin to sacrifice. So he knew there was a bit of liquidity that was coming in. So when you go and market sell millions of dollars worth of HEX, you're gonna catch some liquidity because people are actively buying to sacrifice. It's very important, because if he wasn't in the sacrifice phase, the amount of money that he's trying to sell, there would have been a way bigger slippage, which would have hurt him, right? Okay. But he didn't, because he also
so he picked a good time, is what you're saying.
No, he leveraged the fact that he told people that he won't do what he did, so they behave a certain way. So
but you have two different issues here. One, he misrepresented himself. The other one is he sold when you didn't want him to. The one is deplorable. The other one is perhaps good business sense. I don't feel we can.
It's good business sense as long as you don't tell people to trick them into doing something that you're going to use. To,
But I just want to separate the shaming people for selling versus the shaming people.
No, but that's common sense. No, we don't do that here.
It's not common sense. It's very much a community push of like, don't sell, you're a bad person.
No. That's off topic. That's not what we're talking about.
No, dude. Hey, can I interject?
That is not what we're talking about.
Hit us, Crispy.
You can rest assured for that.
Hey, so Fast. I agree with you that he can do whatever the hell he wants to do, in that it's DeFi. He played the game. And should we expect a shark to do anything other than play the game the way a shark plays the game? And we did. And that's the problem, right? And that's what Kareem did say. It was on us, because I was one of those people who I did a graduated, entry, because I didn't know what was going to happen, and so I didn't YOLO day one, which was the move. That was a good move, and okay, people believed him and what he said, and we think that he did what he did, and now and so when somebody comes out today and they say, hey, I'm definitely holding Pulse to a penny, I'm definitely holding it to 2 cents, you should use past experience to decide how you're going to move in the future. That's it. Exactly. I mean, it's just another internet voice, and now you have some data to back it up as to whether they're going to stick to it or not. Listen, I think the guy coming back is really good.
Exactly. That's why I said, hey, there's no malice.
So it'll attract lots of people,
I just hope people are not butthurt, because me and Maddie are just telling some important things just to remind the people who are not here. That's what I said.
Super important. I think it's a super important PSA.
We wish them all
because some people here, like if I said to you, hey, HEX is definitely going to $1, I'm going to cash in on that dollar. I love that dollar. I mean, it's going to be a HEX, but then I'm going to decide probably on the way up to $1, maybe I'm going to hedge my bets and I'm going to pull out before $1. Same thing, right?
Yep. And one more thing, Fast Abdul, that I want to add too. I'm actually very proud to say that about 70% of the people who listened to the T, what I told them to do, and what me and Maddie discussed on the thing here with Wells, were good, because guess what? I accounted for that too. Even though I didn't expect him to do that, but I would say trust but verify, because I study incentives. I didn't want to give people even the opportunity to pull some bullshit like that. So 70% of the people, anybody from day 1 or day 3, like myself, which was the perfect sacrifice right after God will, we all sacrificed 21 cents, 23 cents, literally at the peak. It couldn't get any more perfect than that because our goal wasn't to quote unquote push the price down. We just wanted to sacrifice, which is why it was good. And because I knew that God will not allow the price to go down. So the first day, as the price started to pump and people were sacrificing, some people were selling, God will keep pumping. Because I remind everybody, stay the course. Don't worry until God will sack. Because when God will sack, he's basically telling you, I'm done pumping for now. So at your own risk if you decide not to sack. So that's why anybody from day 1, day 2 did very well. Day 3 did exceptional because that's when the highest multiple was. The final push, he literally used a 500 ETH. It was nice, wick. I mean, literally, it went up 5 cents in a single candle in 30 minutes. It was such an obvious blow up top. Be like, hey, I'm done pumping it. Use it, leverage. And mad people sacrificed at that time. So that's really good. It's the people that, and shout out to Crispy for being honest to admit that, because he was one of those people. Wells only at the time. He said, I'm away a little bit. It might be, but that's when the grid is in. And then you open yourself for those situations, because now Godwell is no longer here backing you up to catch, and he did. And this is why I say he was nefarious, because guess what? If he really wanted to sell, why didn't he sell when Godwell was pumping? He wouldn't fucking dare, because he knew even him would get bought the fuck out, and then we'll just grab his liquidity and see you later. It's the fact that he waited for that after telling those people those things, and then those people got cut up. So that's why I say I'm upset to him from lying, but I also keep and hold the people accountable for not following the plan, because had they had followed the plan, even if he pulls this thing, those people wouldn't have been affected. So that's the case for that. So we can close that scenario and move
Probably
on.
not worth continuing to dice it. We definitely felt we heard a certain thing, but maybe he said something else, and it's DeFi. People can do what they want. They control their own keys.
Mm-hmm. And now people know, just like, hey, next time when he's trying to come in and trying to play the heroic, then they're going to remember that. And that's it. Because there's some people in the community that, because we are a special community, we're a special code. There's some people that, because they have earned, quote unquote, keyword like Richard, earn the trust, the trustless trust also, that you can take them for face value and believe what they say. You know what I mean? I think it's a sad world if we can't trust certain human beings. You know what I mean? Now, that trust is something that you earn. The same way if you had trust or some level of it, because it is true in the early days when I first came in, Rakam was with me in the chat, schooling, idiots, like kicking out people who were talking shit about HEX. He was defending. There was some really good days when he was over there. I was buying a lot of HEX at the beginning. I helped make some of the tops. He was buying a shit ton of HEX too. He wasn't a staker, but he did very, very well. It's just somehow, somewhere along the way, and we get along just fine. Believe it or not, in the chat. A guy that has literally 500 million HEX, never really staked long, never did a Quattro Cinco, and we were just cool. I was like, all right, cool. Because his actions was showing something else at the time. He was defending HEX, buying, defending Richard, all this other cool stuff. So whether he staked Quattro Cinco or not, that's up to him, because his action was showing that he was a true Hexican.
Can we zoom out a little bit on this?
Yeah,
like not talk about him specifically.
Yeah, well, I mean,
we got a lot of people returning, and they're all returning with agendas. And the reason they're returning is very good, positive stuff, right?
Yeah, and they know the timing too.
There's value and opportunity to earn value, maybe make some money here with a big pump, and so all these people are coming together to do different things. Mm-hmm. And we just have to have your head on a swivel and pay attention to what's going on. And, you have to think through your emotions, right? So you just don't jump in. I have to do it too, right? That's no different.
And they're going to do what they're going to do.
You're going to make your own decisions.
Yeah. And we're going to be here wanting the community. That's it. Everybody play their role. That's it.
We want whales to come in, and they not all whales are going to have community-based honorable intentions, right? But we still want them to come in and buy and sell, dump if they choose to on using PulseX, burn PulseX, put money into LPs, remove money from LPs, like people pressing the buttons with many zeros behind the numbers, like it moves the dial in a positive way, even when every action isn't necessarily positive.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
volume is one of the metrics that they measure. Is like, what's the volume on your chain, and that's buys and sells, right?
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing: is this is not unique to HEX. It's not unique to Pulse Chain. It's not unique to Ethereum. This is across all of crypto, and in fact, it's even outside, right? In traditional finance, same type of stuff, right? You have to understand that people are in this to make money. Okay, they're not. Listen, I like being people's friends. I want to be people's friends. I don't think I've screwed anybody over. If I did, I'm sorry I did it, but I didn't do it on purpose. But that isn't how everybody thinks, right? So for some people, this is, and it's strictly business.
And by the way, that is totally fine. Again, what makes our community special is because, believe it or not, we care a little bit more than others. Does that mean everybody's going to care? No. But the few that do, the backbone, are the reason why, right, Matty, even after 99%, we're still here, we're indestructible because of that. Because some of us can see a little bit beyond. I can be selfish in my own way, make my own money, it's my own wallet, but I don't have to lie, cheat, and steal for it. That's where the difference is. And I will be damned if I can't speak that truth. Period.
Oh, no, you can, obviously you can speak it. You just did. Right.
That's it.
I think, we probably should move off of this for the sake of Maddie's stream and people, but I do think it's real. And I think, like Johnny says, you can't put people on a pedestal. You gotta, shout
out to Yellowtail in the chat. He said it perfectly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then shout out to Johnny in the chat too. So yeah, Cream cares because there's Hexicans in the community that actually care. That's it. It's as simple as that. And so many times we have had some whale, come and go. We have some silent whale, just like, again, just come do your business, enjoy, have fun. We have everything.
Well, many, in general statement, right? Just in society in general, when we come across somebody who is well-spoken, okay, can articulate themselves and communicate well, and who are very successful, we gravitate towards them. And we do tend to give them more credibility. And so the PSA is make your own decisions. Understand, what might be happening. Right?
I think this would be a good transition to talk about literally what Matty put in the thumbnail. How high can HEX go?
Well, can I just in case I get tired and I leave? Can we talk about international intergalactic Quattro Cinco day first?
Go ahead.
And then we're gonna talk about who has the most T-shares, and then we can talk about how high HEX goes.
I don't know if I want to show you my T-shirts.
No,
I'm not even in the running for that. All right, just a announcement about this movement, trying to get this out to as many people who might be interested as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You should not partake in Quattro Cinco Day unless it's something you want to participate in, and that you can wait 15 years to see what the outcome would be, because it's not guaranteed. But people are going to
shut up and take my money.
People are going to do, we're going to, on the anniversary this year, and there may be other dates in the future where people will do this, but on the anniversary of HEX this year, which is December 2nd, many people are planning to do Quattro Cinco HEX, 5,555 HEX, for 5,555 days to signal their support for staking, for HEX staking, the model. And if you would like to participate, whether it's with an HSI, it's a native stake, it's on EHEX, it's on PHEX. Even if you guys want to go do it over on the other hexes, please do. And if 5,555 is too much, do 555.5. Send a signal. That's what we're trying to do. And on a daily basis, we're getting about 10 Quattro Cincos a day now. And so perhaps a nice goal would be 100 for that day. I think we can find 100 people that'll do it.
I think that's conservative. I think we could find 555 people to do it.
Yeah, 555 people.
Yeah. 5,555 people. How much is 5,555 HEX worth approximately?
Well, let's see. If you do 5,555,
EX or PX. It's funny. It reminds me of the day when I ran my promotion back then with shout out to Crypty Girl. She's watching.
Oh yeah,
the hoodie. Yeah, I was literally paying people for, and then the hoodie they do the Quattro Cinco stake. It was awesome. Maybe we should run that back.
Right now it's $20 on EHEX.
Okay.
But on HEX, it's about $100, right? It might be a little bit, variation might be different. You have to be careful in HEX. The whole gas thing's real again. My stakes that are coming up to end are.
But to be fair, last time we were this high in price, it was more like 80 gwei, so it's actually a little bit less.
Yeah, it's a little better.
A little better. So I give it a term.
But it could cost $10 to do a swap and a stake. It's probably going to cost $20, and then it's only $20 worth of HEX.
Here's the twist.
My
it's better because of pulse chain.
my preference is do it. My preference is do it on pulse chain with PX, but I had a lot of people come back. There's even a couple people talking about doing pools. I don't know if they'll come through with it, but do a pool, like pool party or something like that. But in any case, however it comes about, Quattro Cinco for Quattro Cinco days.
Can I ask why you chose December 2nd?
Yeah, I think I'm the one that did that. Somebody asked me what I thought, and then I said that, like, why not do it on the anniversary? And then a whole bunch of people offered other days, but then we kind of just naturally settled on that's a good rounding day to do it. It is, to celebrate it. We may choose other days in the future, like somebody else.
So is it the contract day or is it the calendar day?
Well, yes, it's the first day we have data, so I guess people have that up there.
Yeah, that's another thing too. You can pick a day based on the contract day, day, 3,000.
Well, no. What I'm asking is, like, wasn't HEX launched on was it launched on the 2nd or on the 3rd?
I think it's 2nd. But Matty, technically, the day launch, you cannot stake until the next day. Remember, because it takes 24 hours.
Yeah. That's why I'm asking. Is because there's like a day 0 question.
But if you stake on the 2nd, then it's active on the 3rd.
Yeah.
And so there's been some suggestions that people should do it a little bit
2nd.
earlier.
Okay, that makes sense to me now.
They could do it a little bit later, so they're not all in the same. Whatever everybody wants to do around that time is great.
No, the 2nd. It should be the 2nd.
And then we're also the second proposal for the future would be to do another one for Pulse Chain launch. So
but in the US, the 2nd on the blockchain actually starts in the evening on the 1st, right?
Yeah, it's UTC. Yep.
Yeah, it's UTC time. So I want to, because we've only got 3 weeks, so I want to just start preparing exactly
we probably
when.
need a written guideline. I got a promo video that somebody built for it too.
We could do I could share a link of all the major time zones.
I don't know. We ask people in the chat whether they're interested or not. Maybe it's a good idea. Maybe it's not. I'm going to do it anyway.
I think Hexy
I'm doing it.
Lost in Asia has a good point too. Also keep an eye on the share rate, guys, because it's been pumping very fast lately. So we're fast approaching 40,000. So, and I think there's another big jump.
I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, right.
and people can make this a monthly club or a weekly club. You can spin off any version of T-share, peer pressure, group, club, whatever. But yeah, I think this is an awesome idea, and I love that ChrispyMan and others are organizing it.
Yeah, I just fell into it. It wasn't my idea, but I fell into it. But I like the idea. But Lost in Asia's got a point. Right around, so if you look at our charts, you can see the future supplies when the stakes come out. So there are big dates that always pop up. 2 of the big dates are Thanksgiving, because the OA has a lot of stakes that come out usually around Thanksgiving. Like the OA has 4 stakes or something that end this year on Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
And then Valentine's Day apparently, I believe, is God Whale's favorite.
Yeah. February.
So we have February. So
every year around that time, people panic, and then nothing happened, and just a massive pump. It's just so funny.
Yeah. So we do expect to be there. There'll be share rate increases for sure.
It's over 1 billion HEX.
Yeah. Yep. There'll be a lot of HEX. Now the OA now has not ended any of the stakes since 2021, right? So
sometimes it bleeds.
So what we would like, I think, generally the feeling would be leave the OA stakes alone and don't good account them. But every year somebody goes and good accounts them. So there's an argument.
Anybody in the community can, because they want to kick them out of the pool. So
you don't even have to be in the community.
Exactly.
Anybody who has access to it can do it. So, okay. So guys, everybody who sees this on replay, if you're interested in joining us, join us. If you're not, that's okay too. But we're gonna try to make a statement.
Cool. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, I'll try to help spread the word too, and everybody else should as well. Like, let's get the message out there that everybody's gonna be staking Quattro Cinco on the evening of December 1st and the day of December 2nd. And it's after. So the day. What time does the day roll over in UTC this season that we're in?
So if we just say on December 2nd UTC, you set the stage.
Okay, but just for my own sanity, like, can anybody say, like, does anybody know off the top of their head, like, what American time?
Well,
the day
right
rolls
now,
over currently.
Where I am, it's 10:30 p.m.
Same.
Right. And so 5 hours ahead is UTC, right? So it's so for me, the end of the day is 7 p.m. Eastern time.
It depends on like daylight savings time and stuff too.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Where I am today.
Factored in. Yep.
And so it rolls over at what time Eastern?
7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific.
Because right now it's 10:35 p.m. Eastern.
Cool. Got it.
Well, you know what, guys? Even if you're a little late or a little early, we'll see it.
Doesn't count.
We will see it.
Gotta do it on time.
Yeah, pull up on. You can find it on your phone, on your laptop. Just type UTC. You can change your watch to.
This is a world. This should be a world record. This is going to be a world record.
Do you want to be? You want to be Jerry Lewis, and we can do a telethon? What do you think?
Yeah.
Then we just go from UTC to UTC on the second.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just be like 24-hour stream.
Yeah, we love 24-hour streams.
So that is.
And again, for anybody who's got zero.
That's on the weekend.
Is there?
And I think hexologists historically always do like a 24-hour stream around Hex birthday.
Maybe we get him to do it too.
There you go. Now,
listen, for those people who are out there that really can't afford to do this and shouldn't do it, don't do it. Okay, if $100
yeah,
is
do it if you want to.
Don't do it. You know, make sure you got your stuff covered first. But for those who want to have some fun with it and you got the extra $100 to it, you know, consider doing it. It'd be fun. You know, maybe we'll bust it. You know, we're seeing a pretty steady rate of T-shares being created now in 2040, but it's not anything greater than 2039. You know, we got a whole year to go. We're just finishing up. We're just finishing up January of 2040, coming up to the end of it.
I see a lot of T-shirt preservation. People just reaccelerate the same thing because share rate's pushing up, and then now since prices are rising, if the people are smart, which they are usually, is they understand that as the price goes higher, cost of T-shirt goes higher too. It's roughly about $700 right now on Pulse Chain. So if we do another double, then it's $1,400, $1,500. And then if people remember like last time, next thing you know, another double, $3,500, another double, $7K. Next thing you know, most people can't afford a T-shirt. It's too expensive. So hear me loud and clear, lock them up, early before they become too expensive. So
I've been saying it for a while now, Kareem. I mean, I don't know, what's this, November? And I've been trying to shout it out for 8 months.
No, I appreciate you for doing that.
This period of time was an opportunity to become very big in the future. You had to believe you'd be around. For it, you'd be around 15 years because the HEX was less than a penny, man. And now everything is 6 times more expensive, 5 times more expensive. And what happens after the next one? And so when I keep going back to these charts week after week, and I show how the T-shares came down and they're down this level, who's going to come back at any one time and fill those in? You're not going to fill them in. So the people who seize that opportunity, they're for a very long time, they're going to be the ones who are going to be leading, in terms of T-shirt days.
Yep. And we got great comments in the chat. And that Pip Shinobi, I firmly still believe that it's going to happen. Next thing you know, T-shares worth more than the BTC again, because once the doubling happened, plus the share rate increase acceleration, it's like some people are going to be caught off guard. It happens like that last time. They're going to blink and then it's going to happen. Oh, how the hell? It's too expensive. That's why I'm glad, like, people like Crispy, myself, will constantly just repetition remind people, because if not, then by the time they realize it's too late. Shout out to Johnny Chaos, because he's also out there preaching the good words. You know what I mean? And he had a good comment, Matty. You see this comment? Yeah, he's interested. A contract that's supposedly target Americans roll over on UTC time. That's so fucking true. That's a good. That's something we can remind Lori. That's so true. That's a great argument right there. Because which is a good transition to, like, the price of X and macro.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I got interested in Bitcoin when the price of Bitcoin passed the price of 1 ounce of gold. And so now I look at that, for everything we just had in the past week or two. We had Ethereum pass the price of 1 ounce of gold. An ounce of gold is about 2,700 now. ETH shot past that recently. Of course, Ethereum, back in March was above an ounce of gold, but then fell back down. So there's major money to be made there if you played it right. And of course, gold didn't go from $1,000 at the end of 2022 all the way up, over 3,000 now, like Ethereum did. So that's good. But yeah, back in the day, we used to talk about how the price of a T-share had gone from an all-time low of like 30 cents or something all the way up to or 50 cents maybe. Yeah,
I got my first ones for free.
Probably 60, probably about 55 or 60 cents would have been the all-time low, because 10,000 hex for a T-share at least, and then all-time low of 0.00005, right? Quick math. And then but then we had an all-time high when the T-share rate was higher, right? Maybe it was 15,000 hex per T-share or more, 20,000, and then you had the all-time high of 55 cents. So I don't know what that comes out to, but it was more than an ETH. Was a T-share, I believe.
It got to 10,000 at one point. It's going to go up there.
$10,000.
Yeah, T-share. Right, because we got up to the 50, almost 50 cents, 56 cents. It's gonna happen again. Like I expect
10,000. The peak.
What's that?
Matty, there's a chart for that. It was there on go.hex.com. The old way
it's still there.
Calendar, it shows you. It's still there. The peak was about 10,000, and at the time, literally, Bitcoin was right around somewhere around like 14 or 16,000. It was very close. We were like less than a double. T-share price.
2 ETH. Johnny got it. 2 ETH. Yeah, that because ETH topped out almost at 5,000. So yeah.
Well, I fully believe in 15 years, and of course it's going to change over time. It'll be 300 hex per T-share on the Pulse chain, and if I multiply that by today's price, that is a $5,400 T-share in the future, right? But there's like in my mind, there's no way the price stays there. I actually expect the price to be somewhere in that 55 or dollar per hex range or higher. And so if you start thinking about things like that, it's like, that super moon math. I mean, at that kind of rate in the future. And so I'm going with it at $55, right? That is a $16 million T-share. And so I like to play games.
Some of the best prediction that I've seen like that. Shout out to him if he's in the chat. Hex Farmer back in the day. We were at a meetup. I think there was one in Vegas. He had his Excel spreadsheet that he showed me. That was really cool. And we're talking about T-share projection. And literally, it Crispy is what you're talking about. It's like, and then again, he was able to visualize and show me what I've been basically talking about. So yep, you see what I see. So that's why it's like we look crazy until it's too late, and it's like holy shit.
Well, there's a scenario, right? Listen, everybody can come up with 10 different scenarios, 5, whatever you think. There's at least one scenario where this thing takes off, just like Bitcoin has, goes to some incredibly high number. The math is already there in place, and T-shares become $10 million, $20 million a piece. And so in that scenario, I'm willing to put $100 in for 15 years.
Exactly. And again, the cool justification too, when we got something that's product market fit and understand the value of high yield, is like when people say, oh, but why is it 50 million? No, because I also explained to people at that time when the T-share is going to be millions of dollars, the value of that yield will be generating thousands of dollars a day. And then it just goes back to that kind of like a coupon rate in a way, and you're always on the retrospective, especially if you look at it on on the anywhere from the daily to the monthly, the relationship between the T-share and the monthly yield is always get that good relationship anywhere between 3 to 5 to 6%, sometimes more. Obviously, the longer you stay, the more T-shares, so the more bonus you get. But this is why it's that good retrospective. Like you gladly at that time, some people will be paying 10 million for that T-share, because holding that T-share with the daily yield, like Crispy said, when he pays you $55 per, when you calculate that monthly yield, you'll be like, wow, I understand why it's cost $16 million.
Let's talk about that for a moment, right? So assuming people don't wake up and do something different than they've already been doing, we'll just assume that 2039 forward, we have the same number of T-shares. We'd have about 500,000 T-shares, right? Because year over year, they would add up. So in 2039, let's just say that happened as one scenario. You get into 2039, all you have in front of you is an equal amount of T-shares ending each year for the next 15 years, and that totals 500,000 T-shares. Then the payout per T-share would be 180 per day times $55. And so per T-share
per day,
per T-share, that would be around $10,000 a day at a $55 price.
And that's pretty cool. And that's why I told people, like, oh, why would I buy this from me? Yeah, if you buy something, irrespective of the price, that pays you $10,000 a day in your sleep, of course you will gladly pay the millions of dollars. It's kind of the analogy behind why people, buy buildings or, have Airbnb or rent stuff, or just buy a apartment complex or whatever, and then just rented it out. It's the same thing. If the
I believe there's a very high chance for this to happen, but I also recognize there's other scenarios, lots of things I can't control that couldn't happen. So when I'm talking to people about doing this long term, they need to understand and be able to take care of themselves today, in the near future, midterm, and then when they're talking about the long term, this is great dream material, right? I mean, because you can really dream about what could happen. And you know what? If it's half that, okay. Maybe is it $1,000 a T-shirt per day? That'd be awesome too.
Yep. Because what I love about it is, like, again, it's a game it's proportional. That's the beauty about the yield paid in HEX, because it's like, okay, cool. You want a T-shirt cheaper, then okay, the yield's gonna be cheaper. If the yield increase, then the cost of the T-shirt increase, because again, the money printer that generate what makes it the thing that's valuable is proportional. His value is proportional to how much it costs to own the money printer.
Yeah, if we assume that when we had this low price this time and the low in staking in 2039, and even if we assume that was a low, and now things begin to take off, every day that goes by makes it more difficult for people to come in and affect what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And I mean, to the tune of really, for them to really make a difference, people who are holding HEX liquid today would have to begin to stake something like $500 million a month. For long term. I don't mean short rollers. I mean long term.
$500 million.
What he's saying in simple English is that as the time goes by and that the T-shares are getting more and more scarce, the system actually becomes more and more predictable, because the new participants and the people who haven't staked will gradually affect the system less and less, because it will exponentially cost them more money to try to affect the system they have not already participated in the system. That's what makes it so beautiful. So it's kind of like it solidifies itself, where it's like, and the more certainty, market like certainty, the more certainty something is doing and producing at a fixed rate. Imagine to a point where, like, we get to a point where the price is steady and increasing to the point where it's like the yield becomes boring in a good way, where it's so predictable. Now people trust it even more, and then they buy and they stake more. The same behavior we have seen, where the staking dramatically increased as the price dramatically increased, because people realize, why am I wasting my time trying to trade back and forth? I can just lock this thing up. I'm making 3-5K a month. My bills are paid. I reach escape velocity. I'm financially free. I don't need to stress anymore. Now, again, I budget everything. I plan everything. I become more predictable, right? Like I told people, they say, when you become predictable, you have your discretionary income, all this other stuff. Not everything becomes more streamlined, which actually helps the price and everything else. And then everything just takes off from there, because the people now make their behavior to match that too, next thing you know, there's less uncertainty because people already know what's the best course of action needs to be. And that's where we're going to be. That's why in terms of price, I know we haven't talked about that just a second, but this is where I think the magic is. Once we cross that 10 cents, oh man, it's off we go. Because mark my word, the behavior is going to change again. Like last time, staking is going to increase dramatically. Less trading is going to happen. And then that's going to allow it to quickly go to 50 cents. The hardest part, as crazy as it sounds, I heard one of my mentors said that more. He says it's harder. He said, Kareem, it's harder to make $100 than it is to make 10K. And it's even harder. It's harder to make 10K than to make $1 million. I was like, huh? First time when he said that to me, I was like, how does that make any sense? But then I actually really understand what he's trying to say because you don't have any momentum. You don't have any velocity. It's hard to do. You're not predictable because it's like you had zero. It's like momentum, right? From 0 to 100. It's like, oh my God, it's hard. You have to push the boulder, right? Up the mountain. But then once you're like 1,000, 10,000, you got a flow, you got a system. You're used to making money. You're doing certain things. Now it's like, oh, 10,000 to 100,000. I just need to do 10 times the thing that I did at 10,000. And I already have a blueprint. Boom, same thing, 100,000 to a million. So it's going to be the same thing that's going to happen. Like right now, look at how hard we were below that, penny or sub penny many, many years. Now we finally escaped. Boom, we're close to 2 cents right now, which is good. The moment we get to 4 cents, which is the next milestone, which is going to most likely happen, I predict before the end of the year, because again, Ethereum just need to go back towards 4K. That's all we need, because last time we're right around that. Pulse Chain is going to go back to a sack rate, and then Hex is going to go back around 4 cents. If you want to show the chart, we can do that. Because after that 4 to 5 cents, once we break out of there and we go towards 10 cents, it flies from there, because liquidity is going to be even more scarce. Because in order for the price to even get to that point, a lot of Hex has to be removed out of circulation. And the people who are already staking, who understand the long-term value, they're already in position. It's just a leftover liquid coin that's just hanging around, minus the people that might emergency end stake. But once we flush those people out, it's literally blue sky breakout from there. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to be surprised if, our good friend Godwell and people like that might decide to come back in here and inject some money too, just to close the door behind us, to be like, all right, we're no longer being at this price anymore. I'm just going to take the remaining coin and then just send it. That can easily happen because he has done it before. And this is where everything is going to be connected again. And people are going to remember why this is the greatest thing. And watch how our onboarding effort, shout out to Somni on that, where it's like you'll be talking for a while, but it's kind of like subconscious. It's getting to people's mind, but they don't really take action. But the moment the green candle comes in, all those videos, all those talks we've been saying in repetition, all of a sudden it's all vindicated. And next thing you know, everybody's rushing in the door, trying to get in.
So we can just show very quickly, I guess I misspoke, but this is old data, so maybe it's true now, but we have like the T-share count.
Okay.
Is like if you're a squid, you have like 9 T-shares. If you're a whale, you have 96,000 T-shares. That's 1% of the supply of T-shares. Okay. If you're the real God whale, you have 15% of the T-share count. So that's just right around 1.5 million. Just
you say I was right, basically.
Yeah, and then the origin address has 15.7% of the T-share count, which is 1.516 million. But
shout
then
out to the OA and
it completely changes. Completely changes when we multiply it by years left, which is the all-in rank. Mm-hmm. And in that case, the real God whale has 39% of the T-share years.
Mm-hmm.
I love me some Godwill.
And the OA daughters have 24%.
Yeah, but Maddie, here's the fun fact, right? It looks like that because OA is getting a stake that's going to end soon. Like when right around again, usually Thanksgiving or New Year's. And then when he goes to restake that, watch how this thing's going to bump right back up.
It doesn't the OA doesn't restake and doesn't end stakes. And
sometimes it does.
But this is already taking into account like the amount of time left, basically.
Okay,
stakes.
The current.
So, this is T-shares multiplied by years left, and So this is really cool, and I think it's also really cool that that the real God whale is pseudo anonymous.
Yep.
Because that's how Satoshi is, and I think it's just a cool story. And if the real God whale wanted to come out and say who they were, they could, and it would still be really cool. But we also have the real God whale who has had donated to create the Hex and Pulse Chain conference badges, which are still kicking ass today by doubling the amount of impressions that are organically served up by Twitter for about 70 members of our organization. So how cool is that?
A real G, man. He's the real, I mean, besides, like, literally, like, what I love about this chart here is that literally Godwell by itself is like more than anybody else. That is really cool. And he's a contributor. like I told people, like, that's my mentor, right? You know, I mean, I'm in training.
Godwell.
And then he loves the ecosystem. He's in every coin, big time. He has his own investment too, because I remember, like I said, he made so much money on ETH when he had some perpetual contracts. He was doing like a 5x leverage on Ethereum back in the day, but he made so much money for it. And then the cool thing is he goes make money and he comes back and then he buy Hex. That's the coolest thing. That is the coolest thing. Votes of confidence. It's like when we got people like that, man, in the community, we know that we're good. And I will never forget Richard's smile. It was so genuine when he saw that. He was talking about it. You can tell when he was just genuinely surprised that he think somebody just came in and just 10,000 ETH market buy. I mean, that was just crazy. That's when you know you can't make this shit up. It's so genuine. For those who don't know, go and watch that old video. You look at Richard's face. He's genuinely surprised. It's like, this is so cool. Some random guy comes in and then buy 10,000 ETH worth. That's like, what? On a single, who does that? And then again, come around.
Richard's favorite Hexagon. That's who named him. Yeah,
I try to compete, but he's definitely up there.
And now I think Fast Abdul and ChrispyMan both have screens to share in the next 15 minutes as we wrap up the show. You guys can.
Go ahead, Crispy, if you're queued up here, and I'll get ready, or I can pull up.
Mine's real fast. It's just an update on where we are with the T-shares. So today, within a few hours here, 2,808 T-shares been created for 2040. We have 2 Poseidons at the moment.
Hey,
nice.
Out there.
Another one.
12 whales, 68 sharks, and 69 dolphins. 37. Yeah, 69. You like that number. All right. 37 swifty squids. So yeah, the numbers are coming up. Like I said, we're about almost done with the month. So it's been about 100 T-shares per day, about 10 stakes per day. And there we go. And so to become a Poseidon, you need to have a minimum of 10%, which is 280 T-shares. But if you want to be a whale, you would need 28 T-shares. And if you wanted to be a shark, you need 2.8 T-shares. And so these numbers are still super small, guys, right? I don't expect, hey, listen, anything could happen. We could see a huge increase in desire for T-shares. Maybe all these numbers go up and they double this year.
Oh, hell yeah. Watch as the price rises. You're going to see that.
I mean, I think, maybe it'll be even last year, but we can use this as a guideline to maintain position going forward. So if you're playing the restaking for Quattro Cinco, you can refer to these charts over time or this information over time and just do your own calc and say, oh, if I want to be a Poseidon, make sure you got 10% of the T-shares. That's it.
Well, that's what the charts do, is that you count
that every year
as well. So that's pretty cool.
There you go.
Nice.
Big. All right, Matty, you can switch over to Mr. Fast Abdul.
You ready? Ready to share?
All queued up. Let's go.
Let's get it.
Okay, so this is pretty cool. I just found out about this today. In a private meeting with Crypto Kong made this, and it's neat. It does like an X's calculation based on Hart's law, right?
Oh,
so,
nice.
and it's dynamic. You can put in whatever pool you want. So what I have here is, so I put in HEX is the token that we're looking at. So what's going to happen to the HEX price appreciation based on and then I put in the pool address of the HEX and Pulse pool. So the main pool that's worth like $30 million. And then this X factor here, it's talking about how many X's more will HEX do than Pulse. So I've set it at 1 for the purpose of this now. So if Pulse and HEX, if they do the same number of X's, then this would be the calculation based on that pool. So then I've set a target price for Pulse of 1 cent. So this is the question. What happens to the price of HEX if nothing else changes, but Pulse goes to 1 cent? So then when I press the calculate button, it will figure that out for us. $55, you say. Let's find out. $3.23. 180x. So that's if HEX doesn't appreciate faster than Pulse, like it doesn't do more X's than Pulse, and Pulse goes to 1 cent. So that's I find that interesting. But if you were bullish on HEX and you thought HEX would even do a slight amount of X's more than Pulse, we'll say 2, then I think we'll see. I haven't tried this yet. I think we'll see the number will change dramatically. So calculate based on 2 X's over Pulse. Okay, I guess it just doubles. 361x if HEX does twice as well and Pulse goes to 1 cent. So you can put any pool, like any deck screener pool. I doubt it would do the FUX multi-asset pools in here.
I love that,
and get this calculation.
Try 12.
That's Hart's Law.
Yeah, it's Hart's Law for sure. Yeah, and it's great. It's great fun to do, right? Because you can do all these things. But you also need to be considering what about those other pairs that are connected that people are going to exit from, right? So it's the math is so complicated. You can't come up with one single answer, but it's a lot of fun because you're doing it. Because you're basically saying, hey, if nothing else changes, this is what'll happen. But we're already seeing it, guys. This is great to be able to see and to visualize it. I love it.
Yeah, this calculation, like you say, Crispy, is in a bubble, right? Like it's only calculating off that one pool. It doesn't take into account all the other many pools, but some of the other pools could have a positive effect too, right? Like we'll just say like HEX and Hedron. Like if the price of Hedron goes up, it could pull up the price of HEX. Like some of the pools would have a negative effect, like the stable coins potentially. Like HEX paired against DAI, like it's, DAI is not going to pull up HEX. That's not how stable coins work. But, there could be positive effects too. So there's different sides to it. And certainly if you think something is going to go up, right? Like if you were a founder and you were getting into crypto and you're like, where should I launch my token and what should I pair it against? Like, well, if you thought HEX was going to do a 381x based off this data, which is not financial advice, it's just speculation, and it's, like it's kind of a toy. Well, like you do well to pair your token with this token.
What do you think? What do you think I paired tokens I like with?
Probably things that are really stable and that won't move much.
Anything that I can be sure will draw it down, right?
Number.
Hey, it's a very good point. There's different things to go with it, but certainly X's are one of them. And in terms of X's, the number one token that you should, if you're a market maker, you should be consider pairing with is HEX. Number one. That's number one, right? When it comes to, in general, Pulse.
Biggest market cap,
everything's got to be with Pulse. And then the third one that I think is a must-have is EDAI. EDAI is our prominent stable. So
stable coins,
those are the three big ones for any of you market makers out there. If you just go
what's the benefit of the DAI though, right? At this point in the market, why would you pair with DAI?
This probably gets to a different level of thinking, but there is some stickiness to going with
that's true. Provides a stable
with a stable, and so you're not going to get the price appreciation. So it might only be a 5% or a 10% type of position. However, if you go look at our numbers and go see how much volume is going through EDAI, it's more than EUSDT and EUSDC combined. So it's just one of the major nodes. So I have this. I'm not going to show it tonight, but I have a liquidity web tool that I put together that shows all these connections, and they all come up on the screen. That helps us visualize it. And as we're digging into it, we're beginning to see that this is the case, right? So, anyways, you proposed, hey, if you're going to launch a coin, what are you going to pair it up with? I'm going to pair it up predominantly with Pulse. I'm gonna pair it because I need to have the fluidity. I'm gonna pair it with HEX so that I get the X's, and I'm gonna add a little bit of stability by going with EDI. If I had 3 choices, that's what I'm doing.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, you get the force multiplier.
Choices.
And then you get to ride the bull too. So
I like the horns.
That's awesome. Yeah, shout out to Hex Kong. He's a G. He's been in the community for a while, so I know him. He's
respect.
Great dude.
He's the
Crypto
king.
Kong. He's a smart boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's the king. Yeah, he's really good.
Well, lads, what now?
So how high can Hex go?
Perfect. Let me share my screen. It'll be funny, so we can look at it as we.
$2.22.
What's the time frame? That'll be the first question.
Yeah, now I know. Man, I've done so many different guesses and games.
Maddie, can you share my screen?
Yes.
I got somebody upset yesterday.
Can you guys see it?
Yes.
If you guys remember, a couple weeks back, like I said, when we were running around here, I said, right, we're gonna go around here, get a little pit stop because of this area back in March. We did the pit stop, we flagged. And then literally now we're literally getting ready for takeoff. And for people who are wondering, what is this? It's literally just a bull flag that I took from here to here. So, and which coincided with next stop, right? Next stop is 1618, which is right around 5 cents. Literally what I mentioned earlier. It's telegraph. You can't make this ish up, right? First, we got to get out of this channel, like I mentioned it before. I knew we would stop right around here somewhere, like I mentioned a couple weeks back. We stop around here because probably of this zone over here. A lot of people were like, oh, let's just take some profit around here for now. But the Kelvin channel is pointing upward. The moving average are pointing upward. So everything is moving in the right direction. And for the first time, funny thing to mention, when you compare to Pulse, watch this. This is funny. This goes back to the day when you guys were asking me about, liquidity when I first met, Fast Abdul, like which coin should I provide liquidity with? And I told you guys, right, they all have a W pattern. But then back then, see Pulse X, real quick, boom, and then Ink. And back then, for those who remember, I said they all have the W pattern, but Ink was the one without the W with the higher low, which was the most bullish. It was leading the way. Okay, now for the first time in a long time, this is kind of hilarious. HEX is actually leading the way. In other words, just looking at patterns first, right? When you're looking at it here on the monthly, everybody else is like around here. Well, HEX is already back to very close to the previous local high of March, which is when the last time we had that little run, right? Let me show you guys again. So look at where HEX is roughly. Look at where Ink is. Still got room to grow. It's right around here because a lot of people took some profit, but we expect Ink to come around here. And when Ink comes around here, $8, which is another 200-300%, chances are PulseX also, again, hard slow bonding liquidity, gonna go right around here, which is a 6.5 previous March, and then Pulse, which literally looks like PulseX, same thing, is going to start looking like it's going to go run right around that, SAC rate, anywhere from SAC rate to 1.4. But for the first time in a long time, HEX is actually the leading indicator. See how Pulse, everybody hasn't make it to their quote unquote March local high, right? But HEX has already got there. That's a sign. Now, also, we know with the case going well, and the fact that I reminded everybody that, HEX is the one that's the most oversold. Because, again, back in the day, that thing went over to 50 cents. Even on Pulse Chain with the 2 cents, we're still negative 90+%. So that also means because the most oversold earn the most versus the other ones, compared to the SAC rate, they only, in comparison, down 50% or down about 60-some%, which if you compare to the time when we were sacrificing them, Pulse Chain was around, anywhere from, people were selling any sacrifice from 12 cents to 21 cents. And then Pulse X, same thing, in double digits. So that's already something very, very bullish is leading the way.
Can I ask you a question about this as you're doing this? They say the price is coming up. We know all the prices are connected when they're coming up. How do you see the rotations playing out? So what I mean is this: I'm watching the ratios. For my group, I have a panel that tells them what the best things are to swap between. So like if I'm looking at the RH tokens, it's clear right now that I get the biggest bang for the buck if I have a bag of PHEX and I put it into ink, and I'm expecting ink to rise. Like, so if I was a ratio trader, right?
Yeah.
So I do expect that there's going to be very soon here a huge rotation from PHEX over to ink. How do you think that affects how all this works together price-wise?
Okay, that's a great question. And that's usually, funny enough, the common mistake, and I use my word carefully when I say that, mistake that people are going to do, and then they're going to be left behind. Because there's a saying in investing that also say, you want to let your winner win. Sometimes a common mistake people do is the winner runs, and then they take away from the winner to feed the loser. I mean, it's not really a loser, but, just get the analogy. And then what ends up happening is that they get left behind. Ink is still supposed to be the leading indicator, like I mentioned before, but you guys are unfortunately underestimating how many ink some of the people with big money are printing every month. And at some point, a lot of those people either sold a lot of HEX, emergency end stake, or whatever in order to get a lot of Pulse X to be able to get ink. And now what they're doing is they're rotating some of that money in order to get the HEX back that they never had, because they made a transition. They sold a lot of it, lost a lot of T-shares in order to accumulate the big Pulse chain back. And now they're keeping that back, but they're using their ink money, because a lot of the HEX that got swapped here was coming from ink. There was a lot of massive ink, multi-million HEX buy that came from ink, because those people didn't have a HEX position. The same way a lot of new people who were not in HEX, but I came in for Pulse chain sacrifice or Pulse X sacrifice, as the price rise to a certain point, I'm talking about the people that bought the dip, right? They're getting their HEX back, because you got to understand the yield, number one yield is HEX. Providing liquidity gives you yield, but it's not the same yield as you will get as if you were staking HEX, especially if you stake long term. Nothing beats that, 30+% APY. Because right now, unless you yield farming with a stable coin to get that 50+%, right? If you're doing, Pulse X, ink, Pulse, ink, whatever, you're getting anywhere from the low end side 14%. No, actually, no, 8%. The lowest one is 8% Pulse and Pulse X, because it's the biggest liquidity pool. Then after that, it's Pulse and HEX. It's like 14%. I looked at the yield today earlier. And then the nice one, which is one that I recommended back then and still now, which is ink with Pulse X, is still in the double digits, because in the bull market, those are the two who are the most oversold and good. But that being said, you got to understand that HEX is about to make a big move. And if we hear back from the judge before the end of the year, hypothetically, and then she write something, again, this is speculation. I want to be very clear, speculation. But there's a strong case that could be made that out of the three coins, HEX is the first one to be out of the woodwork in terms of being case dismissed. And if that happened, oh boy, this thing is going to fly. Also, friendly reminder, this is the coin that has been the most sacrificed. This is the coin with the least amount of liquidity. Yes, ink doesn't have a lot of liquidity, so to speak, in terms of number of coin, but there's people that are literally printing $200,000-$300,000 worth of ink every single month. And guess what? Eventually, they're going to affect the price. This is why, if you remember the old meeting we had, when somebody was kind to ask, can ink go to $100? I didn't want to break his heart. I want to say, hey, it's possible, but in the balance of probability, unless those people who are minting all this ink decide to be extremely benevolent or provide liquidity with it with another coin somewhere, they're most likely going to cash out. that ink because it's literally designed for that. It's incentive token. That's literally the fucking utility. If you have a shit ton of Pulse and PulseX, usually you don't sell that. You sell the ink because that's literally what you're earning while you're farming. Now, you could sell the ink to do two things. You can sell the ink to buy more Pulse and PulseX, which is the reason why usually in tandem, when ink goes first, old meeting, when ink pumps first, Pulse and PulseX follow, right? Because I told people, friendly reminder, you need the incentive to kick in because the incentive token goes high. The incentive cost is high. Next thing you know, providing liquidity for Pulse and PulseX give you a higher APY because the ink token just went up. So you need ink to go up first, and then Pulse gonna follow. And as Pulse follow, PulseX also follows because also more volume is being made. But HEX is kind of like the black sheep doing his own thing, which also means at times, when we have seen months ago, at times it could actually sell off more than everybody else. And now it's doing the opposite. It's pumping a little bit ahead of everybody else. But it's also because he was so oversold and a lot of that liquidity got swallowed. And now that the price is moving in the right direction, now that there's good rumors that this is the court case that might get dismissed the first, now that we know that DeFi is coming back with a vengeance, Aave, Compound, everybody else, Donald Trump is having a coin as well, that it's no longer going to be just meme coin dominating, because back in the day, the reason why big meme coin was also dominating is because you don't have to make any promises. You don't have to worry about the SEC or anything like that because it's no promises. That's why even people that do good projects stop doing good projects because they were scared to get sued by the SEC unless they leave America. But now that we're getting a change of regime, those people that really want to build product market fit, good product, are going to come back. And yield is going to be a big thing on DeFi, Ethereum, which HEX is the king of. So the narrative is changing, which is why HEX is getting this boost, because the whole sector is getting this boost. And now, if we start doing the moon math, which is cool, common sense to me, is a continuation of the bull flag once we break out of here. Imagine it's kind of like the Bitcoin chart. Imagine this is like a cup, not exactly, but right here. This is the handle, right? Cup and handle, breakout. We're literally in that week of indecisiveness, maybe depending on how Ethereum decides to pump. But within the next week or so, once we break out of here, I expect to quickly go to 3 cents, then 5 cents. And then after that, just look at it. It's just Fibonacci extension from here. So 5 cents. Then next up is 25 cents. And like I said earlier, it can quickly go this fast because after 5 cents, liquidity is so low. Staking behavior is starting to change. I've seen it, and it will happen again because people want to make so much money without even trading, just staking and chill. And when they stake and chill, they're burning their coin, which makes less coin in circulation, which allow pumpamental to happen even faster because it's easy to pump the price when the liquidity is low, right? Next thing you know, the green candles are getting bigger green candle. What does that mean? Brings more FOMO, more people coming in. It's a natural advertising. Next thing you know, it's easy to go from 5 cents to 25 cents than it is to go from literally where we are now to 5 cents. I need people to understand that. This is how parabola goes. They move fast. Perfect example. Look at Bitcoin this week. You know how hard it was for Bitcoin back in the day to go up fucking $10,000, and then it went up almost $10,000 in a single day, right?
Hell yeah.
80,000 to 89,000 like it was nothing. But for 6 months, Bitcoin was struggling to get out of that 71, 72. Couple times we went to 69, back down. Went to 68, back down. Went to 73, back down. But once we finally broke out sustainably 73, 75, we quickly went to 79. And then even quicker, in one day, we went to 89. The same thing is going to happen here. So if you want to telegraph, look, 2025 is here. If this is the bull flag, end of the year is somewhere around here, I can easily see 5 cents. It's telegraph, literally just following what this thing has here. And then as the FOMO kicks in and we get a good Ethereum price trending towards 4K, it's going to help with the liquidity, push the price higher, and then up we go. Staking behavior start to change around here because people are making more money by just stake and chill than actually trading. It makes HEX even more scarce because more coins are getting burned. Next thing you know, this thing just flies. And it's going to do its own thing. Because remember, this was created on Pulse Chain to fly even faster. Because as Pulse Chain also flies and everything comes back up, then it's going to allow it to pump even faster. So be very, very, very cautious of that, because that's most likely what's going to happen. Like I said, within the next week or so. The reason why is because this week we have important economic data coming in. So a little quick math, macroeconomics I wanted to talk to you guys about is, number one, we have inflation data that's coming up this week. That's very, very important, because I'm going to show you guys here real quick. Right now, DXY is doing exceptionally well. Look at this. It pumped literally almost 9 weeks in a row. The last time this happened was this right here. And after that, it's stabila, and then he literally puked. And when he puked here, we pump like crazy, because what do? Dollar strengthen, money comes in, and then government gets ready to print money. When they get ready to print money, inflation kicks in, and it's good for crypto. But right now, we're getting the best of both worlds. We're pumping, but the dollar is also strengthening, because they're preparing to then print the money in Q1 2025, $1 trillion budget, because they're going to need that to run the government. And then that's when the dollar is going to start weaken. Because right now, what's helping us too is other currency. Global liquidity is increasing. China is printing money. Europe is printing money. And we're not printing money. We're actually cutting back. We're leveraging the fact that the economy is doing okay right now, which is allowing our dollar to strengthen. Because remember, in the fiat world, when everybody prints, we kind of stay the same. But if one person print and the other person doesn't print, the person that doesn't print strengthen against the other one. That's just how it works. But the Federal Reserve is only doing that temporarily, because they know that they're going to need to print in 2025. The same way right now, they're keeping the rates high, roughly right around, where are they? Right here. 2-year rate, look at that. It's at 4.3. 10-year yield is at 4.4. The good news is that the yield curve is still uninverted, which is good. The 10-year still pays more than the 2-year. That's all that really matters. Even if they're rising, that's not a big deal. Because if you guys remember what I taught you guys back in weeks ago, is the same thing that I'm going to show you guys again here. You don't want something to puke like that. That's bad. That's going to destroy the economy. You want slow decay. And I think we're in that phase where we went down, and then we're doing the little dead cat bounce to go down again. Okay, it has happened before. We have seen it, textbook. It's happening over here too. It came to the 800 moving average. It's doing the bounce. I expect it to stop around 4.5, which is roughly where the federal funds rate is right now, anywhere from 4.5 to 4.75. Because when we were lowering rate, the market front run the lower rates. But then now we're doing only 25 basis points at a time. But nonetheless, we went down 75 basis points since we started cutting rates. So federal funds rate is 4.5 to 4.75, which is where roughly the 10-year rate is at. But expect very, very soon, as the incoming data comes in this week about unemployment, if unemployment is a little bit worse than expected, market is going to start front running the lower rate, because they're going to expect the Fed to cut rate, which is bullish. Also, this week, we have the CPI data. If we are doing a better reading than 2.3%, aka inflation is really getting tamed, it's going to feed that narrative for the Federal Reserve to cut rate even more. So literally this week is so good that the data that's coming tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, we don't even need the data to be extremely good. We just need the data to not be bad. In other words, inflation needs to be trending towards 2%, like we want it. So anything between 2.3 to below. We need unemployment rate to be bad, but not too bad. Bad enough to tell the Fed that they got to keep lowering rates, but not too bad where they got to panic. Because if they panic, investors are going to panic from the market and then start pulling out. We don't want that. So everything is moving literally according to plan. And then the reason why I have Compound and Aave here is because those are our fellow DeFi protagonists. So they're doing well. They're recovering, so to speak. Look at that. Aave is one of the big protocol on Ethereum. It's recovering really, really good. Now, obviously, this is a green vector candle, so a lot of people are going long. That might pull back. But nonetheless, DeFi products are doing well. That's a good sign. That's most likely what our HEX is going to be looking like as well in the very, very upcoming future. So back to here. First up, we're already here. This week, if the data is good, once we crack, especially 2 cents, expect rapid acceleration to 2.5. After that, it's 3 cents. And then once we get to 3 cents and we get out, especially 2.5, once we get out of this channel that we've been having here, and we get into literally for PHEX, because EX has been there before, obviously, for PHEX is going to be blue sky. Nothing's going to happen, especially after 3 cents. We never really close anything above roughly right here, 2.78. So once we touch 3 cents and we close above 3 cents, man, it's literally blue sky. The liquidity is very low. Again, less than 1 billion HEX. And by the time we get to here, it's probably going to be like 700 million HEX left. Now, we still need to worry about Bank X. They're still kind of lurking around. I think they still have some PHEX money. But again, ultimately, they only about 1 million, 1.5 left. So that's something that can, if we really start to run bull mode, they can be literally bought out in a matter of like a week. So,
but that's all EHEX, right? Not
oh,
PHEX.
well, for the most part, yes. I think they have about 500 million. I mean, 483. I think I saw it on Twitter yesterday. Somebody tweeted about it because they sold like $5,000 worth of stuff. They sold like 4 million HEX. They have like 480 million EX left, which some of them they move literally on Pulse Chain because, you know, liquidity stuff. Now, I like to believe they run out of PHEX, but I am not 100% sure. So I can't confirm that. But I do agree with you about one thing. They have more EHEX than PHEX. Because at some point they moved it and they did some weird swap. Even though I know Godwell gave them EHEX days.
I'd like to throw this out just as a comment since you brought up Bank X. I know we got a lot of feelings about this and people have some bad feelings about it because that had set up a situation where, you know, they're obviously trying to sell. But I would point out they haven't dumped it.
They haven't what?
They haven't dumped it.
No, of course, because they feel stupid. They had literally, the community made an effort to buy them out around 1 penny, and then they said, "Nah, we want to wait." So right now they'll look stupid if they sell it at 0023. But make no mistake about it. I think
it's still good acting. And I guess what I'm saying is it could have gone a different way.
Yes. Oh, they're definitely going to get less than what they could have
instead
got.
of them being patient with it.
Because they need the money too. At the end of the day, they need the money too. So I think like the same way. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to reshare my screen so I could show you exactly what I was talking about. So when they sold their little 5,000, whatever, it was right around here. Maddie, please share my screen back. Let me know when you can see the screen. Perfect. So watch this. This is the HEX chart, right? On the EHEX side. So the cool thing about this thing is this. Because it's so volatile here, it's crazy. But that's also tells me how easy it can pump. Like last week, because literally 2 days ago, we wicked all the way here to 3.5, So just for people to realize, there's a major move, right? If we're just closing candle. We literally had 100% move last week on EHEX between the swing. It still closed the week 46% high, but it wicked all the way here because PHEX was pumping. And then this caught a bid too, because it's just sometimes, you know, Hexicans shuffling from EHEX to PA, playing the ratio trade or whatever. Because I know there's some people out there when PHEX pumps a lot more, then they rotate some of the PHEX into EHEX. So some of the selling pressure you see on PHEX, it's really not people cashing out. It's just people swapping to the other HEX or whatever, trying to play that game. But as soon as it got here, right around here, that's when Bank HEX sold about $5,000 worth, like about 5 million EHEX, something like that. So I expect them to right around here to 006, this zone here, they're probably going to sell another 50 million HEX, which is fine. The cool thing is they could have get literally this rate right here, way back when, easily. But then they didn't. They screwed up. So now they'll be lucky if they get a rate right around here. But just like I was showing you guys a vision here, this is the only reason why I have this chart here, the Tron chart, okay? Just for visual, which actually, by the way, funny enough, doing well today. I want everybody to zoom out. This is literally going to be our chart in 2025 to 2026. The only difference is this. This is just for pattern that I'm putting here. This is a weekly chart, okay? It did the same thing. kind of died for like negative 99%, 98, something like that. Same thing here. It went like negative 80 some percent. People said, oh, it's done, it's da-da-da, it's whatever. Like, see, this is 74%. Well, this one, he was bigger. It was like 90%. But then, eventually, it arcs, right? Close it, comes back, take over the moving average, very important, and then literally run. Because this is when we get rid of the non-believer. New people comes in. The real believer stays in the long term anyway. They add and they buy. And as the price goes higher, like you see here, every now and then you see massive sale, people exiting. But those sales get bought out and then they just push higher. The same thing happens with Aave, which I use because it's basically DeFi, right? Aave had a negative from the top, negative, 93%, 90, right? And then guess what? People got flushed out. We took over back the moving average, go a little sideways, getting ready to gear up. And now it just took over the 200 moving average. And it's about to cross bullish by the end of the year, getting ready perfectly for Q1 2025 and then run. Same thing is happening here. Very same thing. The only
Sir
thing
Cream, I'd like to mention we have Aave on the Pulse chain in form of the Fiat protocol, which is a one-to-one fork of Aave.
Oh, good to know. I didn't know that. Interesting. So it's like the same thing here. We're getting rid of the people. The buying is coming back in. We're making the higher low over here. We haven't took over the moving average just yet. We touched it, and then this is around here we're going to get rid of Bank HEX. But eventually we will, and we're going to walk into 2025. We're going to recover the 618 on the Fibonacci retracement, which is right around 0.005, half a penny on EHEX. And chances are, when we're half a penny on EHEX, we're going to be at least 3 penny on PHEX. This is how we're going to get a combined 4 cents. And then by the time we get full 4 cents on PHEX, we're going to get a penny back for EHEX. Because last time around, when PHEX was at 4 cents, EHEX was a penny. That's how we had 5 cents combined. So those things are going to come back. But this time around, compared to here, why if we go back to a penny is going to be different is because over here we were at a penny, but we're still below the moving average. If we can go back to a penny, if/when, as we recover, now we're going to take over that moving average. Now we're going to start arcing up. And friendly reminder, guess what? The 200 moving average already exists. And it's where is it? You can make this shit up perfectly. It's right around 6.5 cents. Why? Because right around the Pulse chain launch, and before, all the debacles and the SEC garbage and whatever, we were right around that nice combining before people start playing the choose the side game. It's right around 6.5 cents. And if you get a 6.5 cents on the EHEX, you're definitely getting somewhere around 8 to 10 cents on the PHEX. And that's how we get double digits combined HEX. And then we're cruising back up. So everything is geared up like those charts that I just showed. The only difference is we have a time delay. By the time we're back to 6 cents, we could be somewhere around, May to June, whatever, 2025. But the writing is in the wall. This is the reason why the accumulation is now. Now, this is going to be a follower. This right here is going to be the leading indicator. It's already getting ready. And if it flies to 5 cents by the end of the year, then literally EHEX is just going to get carried out and basically fly right back up here too. The question is, again, are you in position? Do you understand? Do you see the fractal? Do you see the similarity? Again, this is the reason why I show you the Tron chart. Not because I like Tron. I want you to see the similarity. The same way I show you Aave. Same thing, Aave compound. Those are popular protocol because when DeFi becomes king again, which it will be, when Ethereum get all of its update in Q1, when massive inflows, I forgot to show you guys that today. My bad. Let me refresh. Look at that. Ethereum is catching real bids now. Not like the bullshit like before, 0, maybe 10, maybe something, maybe 2. It's catching 100 million a day. That's something to celebrate. That's a big deal. Obviously, Grayscale is still selling, but just like the pattern here, when he starts, you see, this is the GBTC. When it goes like that fast, that is selling a lot. When it starts going like this, sideways, that means that they're not really selling. They're only selling when the price is higher. They're not just selling just for the sake of selling. Same thing happened to Ethereum. It stopped. The selling arc, it started to go sideways. It started to look like this, which means they're either going to buy more or they're only going to sell when the price is going higher. In other words, they're not really selling at these prices. They're now waiting for price to go higher before they sell. You see, they didn't sell 6 days in a row. They waited until Ethereum went to 3,400. They didn't sell it at 3,100 or 32 or 33 or even 2,800. They waited for 3,400 to start to sell. But by the time the data comes tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised if BlackRock picked up 40, 50 million out of there, and then this thing is already positive. So in other words, Ethereum is catching a bid. People have been talking shit about Ethereum, fading it, but now boomers are about to help Ethereum. And back in the day, not too long ago, only Bitcoin was the one getting the 100 million plus. Now Bitcoin is catching billions of dollars. And like I told you guys back in the day, as long as the ETH BTC ratio recovers, even if Ethereum don't get no money, Bitcoin can get all the money if ETH BTC ratio recovers. As long as it recovers, let me go show you right here. Ethereum is going to get the money indirectly because the money will go into Bitcoin first and then boom. So this is the potential tentative of being the bottom. Now, this was a green vector candle. It has to be recovered. But if it makes a higher low, the week hasn't ended yet, but this week is critical for Ethereum. If it makes a higher low and start trending upward, just from here to here, I mean, that's insane, 32%. That's massive. Or just to put in simple, easy math, if Bitcoin trends around, $100,000 at 87 right now, right? If it goes to 100,000 by the end of the month, and Ethereum just barely take back the 004, right? Quick math, 004 of $100,000, assuming Bitcoin is $100,000, that's already $4,000 Ethereum, which then means by the time Ethereum just goes back here, 4.6, that's $4,600 Ethereum. By the time Ethereum just go back to 5,005 right here, barely what it was before, touch the moving average roughly, that's already an ETH new all-time high. But I expect Ethereum to do this. When the time comes, it's going to do this. And I expect it to do Q1 2025. Just like last time when they came crazy. If you guys remember, in 2021, see, New Year's came in, bam, pumped that thing crazy for a month against Bitcoin. It went up literally 87% against Bitcoin. That's insane in a month. Then it retraced in February, but then March, which is still Q1, it pumped another 175%. And again, this is when Ethereum is supposed to be expected their new update that's going to come out, which is a big deal to help for the scalability because they're using the layer 2 to help it scale. The fact that Uniswap is going to get its own chain is a big deal because a lot of the transaction fees that if you go into, I'm going to show you guys real quick, when you type, gas tracker, right? See 25, 27, great, but Uniswap is still number one. That's a big fucking deal. It's 15% of the usage. What do you think is going to happen when Uniswap get his own chain and all this transaction is no longer on Ethereum layer 1? It's going to be a big deal. The fee is going to go down. They're going to use that. That's going to be the new narrative. Plus, you add DeFi, like we talked about, pro-Trump, pro-quality. You're going to get guidance. You're going to get a potential new SEC chair. All these things matters. So all of a sudden, everybody that's been fading Ethereum, they're going to regret it. So all those things, it's part of the composition. So once you understand that, you understand that ETH is going to most likely do very well. ETH is catching bids like Bitcoin is catching bids back in the day. And Ethereum doesn't even need 500. They just need to keep doing 100 million, 50 million every day. Ethereum is going to keep pumping 10, 15% because that 100 million, when the asset is less than $4,000, it pumps differently than when the asset is like 80 grand. So all those things is just a time delay. So all that is, Ethereum is going to be a massive catch-up play. The same way Bitcoin, we were waiting for the massive catch-up play breakout, which then happened right here, right? Back to back. Because where are we seeing this pattern, right? I've been showing you guys this for weeks. We've seen the pattern where? We see that right here, US 30, boom, the pattern, bump and run, boom. SPX, pattern, same, bump and run. SPY, same, bump and run. So this was just the leading indicator. And then like my tweet that I said is just gold. Same thing, bump and run. And then now we're getting what's called the gold rotation. A lot of that money that's going to Bitcoin also came from gold. People sold a lot of the gold ETFs. And then that money got rotated to Bitcoin. I don't know if you guys saw the news today, breaking news. The IBIT BlackRock Bitcoin ETF he's now bigger than their IBIT BlackRock gold ETF, which was also very big. So it's a new record because the money is rotating from here to here. We've seen it before in 2021. It was the same thing. The stock market gets the money first. The liquidity gets pumped to them first because they're closer to the printer. Gold gets it, or regular stock market. And then after they made a shit ton of money, they cash out over there. They push it to Bitcoin, so they make even more money. And what do? After they get the Bitcoin to look like the gold chart, right? It's going to be the same thing. Mark my word. Clip this thing, right? Let me show you again so you understand the pattern. Gold did the breakout. Bitcoin is somewhere around here, okay, compared to gold. Right around here is Bitcoin doing like 100,000. There's going to be some taking profit, whatever. And right around here is probably Bitcoin 110, 120,000. And eventually, they're going to start taking map profit. And then what are you going to do? They're going to move it to Ethereum. The same way over here is they're going to run it. We're going to go, right, 1618, literally looking beautifully, which is right around 173,000. I don't think we're going to go that far this fast, but I can easily see 100K, consolidation, and maybe like 120 somewhere around here before some cashing out. And then at that point, one more pattern, similar, Ethereum. The crazy part is Ethereum, just kind of like I'll show you HEX compared to Aave and HEX compared to Tron. Ethereum is also going to be doing the same bump and run. But the thing is, it's just lagging, but it's going to happen. Ethereum is still doing its cup. Okay, I want you guys to imagine this, okay? Use your imagination. Follow me. This is the cup in formation. We have here, maybe a little, it's going to come, retest here. Then it's going to do a little like this, recovery to do the cup, the handle, and then break out. And once it break out, it's going to shoot towards 6,500. And the money is going to come from Bitcoin. The same way the money from Bitcoin came from gold. So it's about understanding the timing, where it is, being positioned. The macros are aligning themselves. And then
What do you see the
Sounds
top?
great.
I see the top.
So let's wrap up here as we wrap up with that question that Crispy just asked.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. Do you see that? I see the top at 25K for Ethereum.
There you go. Which it could be, because listen, if so much money comes on Bitcoin and Bitcoin really outperformed, let's say $120,000 Bitcoin, there's so much liquidity. It's so easy for Ethereum to go to 10K because again, Ethereum, people forget Ethereum has less inflation than Bitcoin. That's another thing too. A lot of that money is stuck into smart contracts and now it's going to start paying yield. And to this day, protocol like Lido and all sort of stuff, they still stacking ETH every single day. The amount of ETH that's locked into smart contracts and DeFi protocol constantly increase. And sometimes it's deflationary. Now, if you start catching a bid, plus, the fees are coming back in, and it goes back into deflationary mode, oh, bro, it's on.
We could do a whole show just on that. Yeah, just on that one question. So my guess is ETH tops out at 16K, and then Pulse Chain gets the gets the blow off top after that. To absorb all the rest of that.
Exactly.
So
you're right. That's the final stage. After Ethereum catches bid, we catch our bid too.
So we'll wrap it there, and let's go around the room and have everybody say where people can find you. Kareem?
Bang, bang. So yeah, on Twitter, easy, Your Magic, or on Instagram, if you use that, Kareem Crypto, Quattro Cinco. So stay, bake, and chill, and yeah, glad to be here.
Beautiful. Awesome. Crispy?
Come visit me at hexfire.io.
Awesome. Fast Abdul?
Don't find me. I'll find you. But otherwise, 2fucks.io, as displayed on the screen, is a reliable source, and you can find the Telegram room links from there. Beware of scammers.
Beautiful. I'm at x.com/MATI all in. I've been a little bit under the weather this week, but the content was so fire tonight that we went like 40 minutes longer than usual. So that's great.
Crazy.
I'll be traveling the US now to try to get and get the word out about Hex to all these millionaires and billionaires and everyday people. So yeah, look for me on the interstate. And
nice. Drive safe,
go.
buddy. Drive
yes,
safe.
we'll do.
And shout out to everybody in the chat. We love you guys.
Yes.
Thanks for being here.
Hit the
awesome.
like, subscribe, share, follow all these guys on their socials linked in the description below. And until next time, stay wisely, my friends. And peace out.
Peace out.
You gotta stay the crispy.
This is the part where people can still hear us, but we give our final voice.
We love them.
Wow.